Hello, oh god. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Chud Watch. The kitty just knocked some stuff over immediately the second I, pushed the go live button. And she scared herself away. So I hope you're all doing well on this Monday afternoon / evening. Sorry I'm a little late today. Jake and I were recording a two-part Dave Rubin chapter review for the book thing we're doing over on YouTube. Part 1 will, I think, be out tomorrow. It'll be good, so, you know. Look forward to that. That'll be fun. But I am here now to look at all our favorite MAGA cope, amongst other things. Siberian Winter with some bits says, time for my weekly dose of copium. I don't need those brain cells anyway. Jezebel Dreed, thank you for hosting. Daddy Sume with 20 bits says, Hannah, family sucks. That is all. Yeah, they often do. Yeah, the Dave. We're for those who don't know, over on Hannah and Jake on YouTube. I do a YouTube channel with actual Jake, who also does stuff here on Twitch. Brant did this for you. Thank you for following. We do a series where we're going through Dave Rubin's book, Don't Burn This Book, and talking about it chapter by chapter. We did something similar for 12 Rules for Life, and we just got onto the chapter that is, oh gosh, what is it called? It's like, don't worry, you're not a Nazi, or something like that. So, good stuff. Good stuff. So today we're going to be looking at a bunch of stuff. I thought we'd take a look at more of the Coping MAGA Twitter page. We have, we've looked at this guy briefly before. I think this is, we may have even seen a clip from this video, but this is the slightly longer version of his rant, where he's mad that GOP members aren't getting up behind Trump as he thinks they should in order to try and steal the election. So, we'll see that. We have Tim Powell saying that there's a constitutional crisis looming in swing states. Basically, he's going to say, like, hey, here's how Trump could still win by, again, disenfranchising tens of thousands, if not more, voters. So that's fun. Sticks talking about the Sidney Powell thing. For those who didn't see, Sidney Powell, who was part of the Trump legal team, has been disavowed by Giuliani and Trump for her crazy comments, which is pretty fun. We'll see Styx' reaction to that. This individual does rap music for Donald Trump, and 3 days ago he put out quite a song. It's a Merry Christmas to You MAGA rap about how Trump won the election secretly and Democrats are trying to steal it. So we'll listen to that at some point. I assume... Oh, did they certify the votes for Biden? They must have just done that, because I was keeping tabs on it. We have... This woman from this YouTube channel, Destiny Image, says, this is our 1776. And it's how Joe Biden winning an election by 6 million votes is somehow stealing the election from Donald Trump. From the same YouTube channel, we have this guy who's talking about certain prophets claiming Trump was going to win, and oh, were the prophets wrong? Sushi Mom, thank you for subscribing with a 7-month streak. Sushi Mom says, love you all, I'll be gone for a couple days. Okay, hope it's for like, oh, it's probably like a holiday thing. Okay, stay safe. Did I see him crash Sunday service? No, I didn't. Jake told me about it, but I didn't actually watch it. But I wanted to watch one of his videos. Or songs, rather. That's good, though, that the Michigan certified votes. We'll maybe take a look at, well, let me just look. Michigan vote. News. Michigan State Board certifies Biden win. Oh no, look. I'm looking at CNN, just like people on the right think people do. The horror. I'm not a fan of CNN.
Unhinged!
Is there an AP article on this? That would be good. No. Okay, we're gonna have to do CNN. That's unfortunate. The Michigan State Board of Canvassers voted Monday to certify the state elections results, formally granting President-elect Joe Biden the state's 16 electoral votes. The certification all but erases Donald Trump's pathway to try and overturn the election results through legal challenges that may have been dismissed in key states. Bumble Homestead, thank you for subscribing, 7-month streak. Did I miss some bits? I'm sorry. There was a cleanse video for later, I'll click on in a second, and then thank you for reminding me of that, Danny Sume. Where is the link? How far back is that shit? Jesus Christ. There it is.
Today I'm gonna...
One of the 2 Republican members of the Michigan State Canvassing Board, Aaron Van Langenveld, joined the 2 Democrats to vote to certify the election results after it was unclear how he would vote prior to the meeting. The question of certifying Michigan's election results moved center stage amid Trump campaign's dubious claims of voter fraud effort in the court to delay certification and overturn the results in several key states that voted for Biden. As the Michigan board debated Monday, Pennsylvania's Supreme Court rejected the Trump campaign's effort to block the counting of certain absentee ballots, clearing the way for votes to be certified in multiple counties, including Philadelphia. At Monday's meeting, Van Langeveld, that's probably how you pronounce it, signaled that he believed he was required to certify the vote under state law, regardless of whether he believed there should be an audit of Wayne County's election results. He said he supported an audit, but that didn't mean the board should wait to certify the election first. We must not attempt to exercise power we don't have, he said. Good for him. The other Republican on the board, Norman Schinkel, abstained. He argued the board should not certify the election results until an investigation into voting in Wayne County, the state's largest, which includes Detroit, was completed. Schinkel asked the Republican-led Michigan legislature to conduct a review of the 2020 election. Earlier this month, the Republican canvassing board members in Wayne County initially voted against certification before voting in favor after a public uproar. The GOP board members received a call from Trump that night, and then the following day they filed affidavits seeking to rescind their votes, which they could not do.
There's nothing funny about
that shifted the attention to the state canvassing board, which also has 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats. Before the vote, the board heard from election officials like local clerks, campaign lawyers, and other experts. Van Langenveld signals his views from the outset, debating about the board's role with an attorney for GOP candidate John James, who argued the canvassing board could adjourn and wait for the results of an audit before certifying the results. He disagreed. I've had a pretty good chance to look at the law. There's nothing in the law that gives me the authority to request an audit, he said. Schinkel came to a different conclusion. He asked Chris Thomas, who served as a senior advisor to the Detroit city clerk and has built a decades-long career serving both Republicans and Democratic secretaries in the state of Michigan, under what circumstances the board can delay certification. Thomas said, if you have the completed returns, I don't think you can adjourn, and that the only option the board has now is to certify the results. All counties in Michigan have certified their results, so that's good. Oh, we're on a hype train. Bellstar, thank you for resubscribing with a 7-month streak, and then Fat Baby Jake with 20 bits says, ran into your contest post-election due to YouTube ran into your content post-election due to the YouTube algorithm. Has to be one of the few times it returns something nice. Love from Germany. Thank you, I'm glad you enjoy the stuff. 99% of the level in hype train. Chesabel with 100 bits. Hype train! Yes. Either way, I'm glad that's dealt with. I was very worried my state was going to do some dumb shit. I'm telling you guys, Michigan is the south of the north. I don't know what is happening in Michigan, but it is real bad. The fact that it was even, like, a little bit of a thought that we wouldn't certify the election, or at least, like, try and delay it, ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Bellstar with 50 bits, Choo Choo. Albatrotsky with 200 bits, Chugga Chugga Choo Choo. Yeah, just make me make train noises. That's the proper way to do a hype train. So with that out of the way, let's look at some of the Kopi MAGA stuff. This will be fun. AW Ghost 82, thank you for the 102 bits. What's this? They're so mad. List from Vince James of Republicans who didn't support Trump. Part 1. Mitt Romney, Marco Rubio, Mike Shirkey, Brian Kemp, Brad Raffensperger, Pat Toomey, Liz Cheney, Larry Hogan, Fred Upton, you know, it's a list. And then there's a part 2. If the Trump Republicans decided to split from, like, the non-Trump Republicans, that'd be the best. That'd be the best decade. Space Executor, thank you for gifting a sub. Albatrotsky, thank you for 100 bits. Ooh, but a train whistle. Ooh, ooh. I think that's what it would sound like. Daddy Sume with 20 bits. Hannah, you missed my bits.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Where are they? I should clearly be a mod, Hannah. You're welcome. I'll think about it. Then I don't even know. Can you time out mods? What if Daddy Sume decides to rickroll me and he has to be timed out? That's too much power. That's too much power. Have I seen this? Let me look. Looks to me like they may be destroying election documents in Cobb County, and they're just filming someone. Okay. So this place is taking their stuff out to the shred? That's normal. Like, office buildings, especially if you're like in the government, have contracts with companies that come and shred documents. It doesn't mean they're shredding the votes. Jesus Christ, guys. MMO addicted with 30 bits. No, you cannot. Also, this made me smile a bit. And then there's a link.
Funny about the tools of capitalism.
I don't get this. And then Towing 24 with 20 bits. If the Chuds leave the GOP, it'll be 20 millionaires sipping overpriced shitty Chardonnay bitching about tax rates. True. True. Are you ready to go see California go red after all the fraud is exposed? This is the electoral map, the fake one that One America News showed and said, like, there is a secret server in Germany that had the real election results and it turned California red. That was your dear Polish almost dictator? Okay. I don't know the stuff about Poland. Daddy Sume has a link. This better not be a rickroll. I clicked on the wrong thing, I think. Because the thing scrolled. Ultimate power. I get it. MMO addicted to 20 bits. Poland. 1-1 Hungary, on the other hand. Right-wing dictatorships on the hammer and sickle. The faces of Kaczynski and Orban, respectively, just Poland and Hungary. Okay.
There's nothing funny about the
Aurora Caria 24, 25 bits. Araucaria is how I usually pronounce it. Bits for the hype train. Araucaria. Araucaria. Okay, thank you. 37% in the hype train with 30 seconds left.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Brody Man, thank you for subscribing with a 2-month streak. Thanks for the great content. Thanks for being a viewer. Appreciate it. Whoa, sorry, that was very loud.
Nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Chetsabel, thanks for the 100 bits. Thanks for the 20 bits. So we got one level of the hype train, so I need like one hat. How about the Hannah hat? That'll do.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
That'll do. Cotton Candy 903, thanks for the 100 bits. The 4 stages of being this. Why is this on Coping MAGA? Either way, it's one of these Galaxy Brain memes. I wish I was a girl. I could just be a girl. I always was a girl. Destroy capitalism. Can't relate. This is from Parler. They say Sidney Powell is a double agent. The Dems planted her on the Trump legal team. She was paid $2 billion to to hoodwink Trump and his supporters. The machines did not flip 7 million votes. Sidney has left the U.S. under the protection of the Democrats. Tucker Carlson sniffed her shit and called her out. She panicked and got the hell out of the country. Wow. The narrative has shifted very, very quickly against Sidney Powell. For those who didn't see, Sidney Powell was the lady who was at the press conference that Giuliani had where his face was melting and he rubbed boogers all over his face. She was spouting like ridiculous conspiracy theories, even relative to what the Trump campaign has been spouting in regard to this election. So they finally disavowed her and fired her and were like, she's not part of our legal defense team anymore. So now I guess someone like this is saying, oh, she was a shill all along, even though literally 24 hours before this, they were all saying, oh, she's gonna release the Kraken and save the election. Total horseshit. MMO addicted with 20 bits. Fellas, I've been tempted to grow out my hair for a while, and with quarantine, I have no excuse. Is it gay? Wear your hair however you want. That would be my advice. What is this? Our Carnivore Diet. Jordan and Michaela Peterson. How to cure depression and disease with meat only. I think all Republicans should boycott the clear and open evidence of fraud and refuse to vote unless results are overturned. Yes, great idea. All Republican voters should boycott the runoff election on January 5th in Georgia. Governor Kemp and Georgia Secretary of State have betrayed Georgia Republican Trump. They were bribed. Don't give the Dems any victories. Write in Trump on January 5th in the runoffs. This is people messing around, obviously, but it would be funny. It would be very funny if Trump actually screwed up the Senate runoffs for the Republicans. That'd be kind of beautiful. Let me see how it started, how it's going. Newsmax, this is on the 20th, so 3 days ago. Sidney Powell says, quote, Trump team will prove case within 2 weeks. And then Axios with an article that says Trump campaign says Sidney Powell isn't a member of its legal team. Do you know how incompetent you have to be and how crazy you have to be to get fired from a legal team headed by Rudy fucking Giuliani? Shame to every person involved in this fraud. Shame, no, this is treason. Shame them, try them, hang them, especially number 3. Jesus Christ, these people are real itching to hurt someone. That's not good. Oh, look, a PragerU chart. Nazism killed 17 million people. Marxist socialism killed 20 million. Mao's socialism killed 65 million. Democrat socialism, 80 million. Guys, we gotta beat the high score. Seriously, though. They're counting... I don't even know... I'm assuming... This says abortion. So I'm assuming they're considering every abortion that's ever happened in the United States on record as a death. And I'm not sure what else they're including in that. Probably like everyone who's ever died of poverty or something in the United States, as if that's the fault of socialism that we don't have, and not the fault of capitalism that we do have.
Capitalistic propaganda.
Thank you to Jason BBB for following. On an unrelated note, the election has been an absolute disaster and is definitely going to be resolved in the Supreme Court. Do not buy into anything the media says. The media is saying Joe Biden won because it is in their political interest to prop up Joe Biden as president-elect, even while the election is being challenged across multiple states. As I like to say, the show isn't over until Clarence Thomas sings. If your hope for winning an election is to give a victory to the person who lost by 6 million votes, you are a bad person. You are an authoritarian who wants to exercise power over the majority of people, despite the fact that they have elected someone that you don't like. Ammo addicted with 20 bits. Nope, they are counting every sperm cell not utilized in the divine act of conception. Legit, I know some people who say that's murder. That's stupid and not how sperm works. Unconditional prong with 1 bit or with 20 bits. Love your hat today, Hannah. Very Michigan of you. Thank you. Wing the ultimate nog. Capitalism 30 billion. Sounds legit to me. If you just say numbers, that's how it works. Tumek Von Raven with 100 bits. Socialism is killed. Gazgillion people. Communism has killed 2 gazgillions of people. Only true facts. If you say numbers, it's true. That's how it works. I'm sorry, Mr. President, but as you can see, I put your name under the soy boy Wojak, so. These new memes that are pointing out the stupidity of these memes with the crying guy and the, like, stoic PewDiePie looking dude, like, I'm a fan of these. So many of you have lost faith and are now showing your true colors. You're spineless. You're choosing to submit. You're cowards. Good. Pick your lane now so we can weed out the weak. We need real soldiers for what is coming. We win. History belongs to the bold. You lost. You lost. Let it go. We don't even have a president-elect until December 13th, much less a new president. Happens January 20th. Although something tells me you didn't do well in political science. Trump is still your prez. The pedantic way in which some of these people will be like, Joe Biden isn't president. Yeah, like, yeah, we know. We know. We know it's that he won the election and he will be the president soon. See, there's this thing after the election. It's called the lame duck period. It's where you stop giving a shit about the president who's been the president and you start giving a shit about the next president because they're going to be in power. And typically, presidents don't do anything consequential in the long term in their lame duck periods. Donald Trump's different because he's Donald fucking Trump, but like it doesn't change the fact that Joe Biden will be the president in a couple months, so that's why people are talking about him the way they are. Phosphophyllite with 20 bits just got here. Did I miss anything good? Not really. Hear that, everyone who got here before that? You've wasted your time.
There's nothing
seriously though. No, you didn't miss much. We're just going through the coping manga page before we move on to the videos. Siberian Winter with some bits. They should really do a study on who can simp harder, Trump supporters or VTuber fans. I'm not familiar with VTube, so I don't know. I guess I don't get the joke entirely. Guy Fawkes, very edgy, very original, says, if communists were so powerful and on the right side of history, they wouldn't have to delete all my responses and let them be viewed by all. Powerless, weak, unsophisticated, mentally ill, sexually confused and frustrated drones. Just like the election, you have to alter the results to obtain power. So here we have a collection of 20-something-year-old a-holes that for 4 years cried over the old white guy that was in office, so they voted for an older white guy to solve their problems. We should have aborted your entire shitbag generation. I'm imagining... We've seen Mirror Universe Captain Kirk from Star Trek. I feel like if Mirror Universe Jean-Luc Picard gave a speech, it would be this. It would just be all caps ranting.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Brain Deadvin with 20 bits. Now they are for abortion, of course, when it's for people on the left. Cotton Candy 903 with 20 bits. These people whine more than my 2-year-old cousin. Your 2-year-old cousin probably knows when they get fewer points, they lose, and they'd accept that. Probably better than Donald Trump. Biden is not the president-elect. Every single person who claims otherwise is wrong. Every media company and personality claiming it is lying. He may inevitably be in the near future. He could be in the next 5 seconds. It doesn't matter. They'd all still be liars. No. The person who wins the vote has been referred to as the president-elect in every election. That's common. Because we know how this works. It feels like every Trump supporter I read talk about this has either never voted in an election before this year, or they've literally never paid attention to any of the coverage of the election after they go and cast the vote. Like, guys, this is how it literally always works. You have an election. In fact, it's normally more streamlined because we had so much mail-in voting this year. But, like, normally, on election night, you have a winner that's forecasted, right? And then at that point, you know who's gonna win the election, and they're the president-elect. It's every single election. I don't understand these people. I really don't. Are they stupid? Are they intentionally ignoring how things typically work? I don't know. I don't know the answer.
Sir, I know this may finish me as an acting ensign, but...
Shut up, Wesley!
Duck White 94, wait, I forgot. Who won the election? My money's on Jeb Bush. Let's take a look. Ooh, it's not loading. Maybe we won't... Oh, there we go. Okay, good. We get to have an answer. It looks like Joe Biden won the election. Weird how that is. Here's Shu talking to someone. They said, "We have the beautiful Amy Barrett on the court, and she'll save us, I believe." Shu says, "Bro, please stop this, please. Come here. I will help you, please." And then they say, "LOL, I'm going down with the ship." Yeah, I mean, at least they're self-aware. It drives @real Donald Trump crazy when I post these, so please don't upset him by sharing this. Trump and his allies are 2 for 34 in post-election court cases. Joke's on you morons, because he literally has to lose these small court cases in order to get to SCOTUS. Actually, no! No, he doesn't. First of all, they said he has to lose. They didn't say he has to lose. They said he has to lose these small court cases. No, you could absolutely win these court cases, and then someone else, like, might, why am I blanking on words? I'm so bad at this lately. Appeal. If you win, they win, and then you don't even have to go to the Supreme Court. But, like, if you win, then the other side can appeal that judgment, and then it can move up. But if you already win the court case in the first place, then you're fine. Then you won. Good job. It's quicker that way. I don't know if you know that. But winning earlier is quicker than winning later. Just for the record. Chessabelle 20 bits, I'm so proud of Shu these days. I'm not gonna lie, I don't follow her a lot. Not intentionally or anything, I just haven't seen stuff of hers in the past 4 years or so. I know she did a thing on Snortling's Hollow recently, but I haven't seen it. Sure would be a shame if President Trump just declared victory and took it to the Supreme Court. It would. It would indeed be a shame if a sitting president decided to become a dictator and undid over 200 years of American democracy. It would be a shame. Who is this? Who's Reed Cooper? Is this Reed Cooper in the picture? Why does he look 12 years old? Hold on. Who the fuck is Reed Cooper?
Would you recommend a pardon?
Like, does Reed Cooper not appear in these videos? They're, like, very brief. They look like they're edits of Trump stuff. Reed Cooper. Images. Oh my god. Is Reed Cooper, like, a literal child? Oh my god. Look at this kid! I feel bad for this kid. I'm not making fun of this kid because they're a literal child. But this is not going to end well for this kid. Oh, this poor kid. I don't know what made this kid like this. But I feel like this identity is not going to work out. Not at this age. Oh, no. He literally, like, looks like a little baby Donald Trump. That's embarrassing. Bad parents, I would think so. Honestly, no kid that young. And I would say the same in the reverse, by the way. If there was some kid who was that age and was making, like, pro-Obama or Joe Biden or, heck, even Bernie Sanders videos, I'd be like, kid. You don't need to be involved in politics this young. You know what I mean? Like, no one who's this age has an informed position on politics. Why? That's pretty sad.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Tucker White 94 with 20 bits. Dorks like this are what happens when you take bullying out of schools. This is a sarcastic statement. Yeah, that's no. That's how Shapiro started. Yeah, maybe they're trying to get that kid to be a Trump Shapiro, basically. Person claiming that they're going to take Trump supporters and round them up like during the Holocaust, which is ridiculous and pretty offensive to people who actually had families die in the Holocaust. Tucker White 94. Nope, already read that one. What did I miss? Oh, Captain Gavino, thank you for following. Don't you just love people who tell you to accept the results when they just spent 4 years refusing to accept the results? Guys, again, what are the right talking about? The left was not accepting the election results. Hating the person who won is not accepting the results. People on the right, listen to me. If you hate Joe Biden for the next 4 years, that's fine. I'll hate him with you. Trust me. But that's not accepting the results. Not accepting the results isn't accepting the results. People on the left accepted the 2016 results. Donald Trump won the election. He's been the president the last 4 years. It's like they're conflating, like, claims of, like, collusion between Trump and Russia with the idea that the election was stolen. But that's not what the claims about Russia were. So I don't even think they understand the claim they're trying to make or the claim they're trying to parrot back.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
It's frustrating. Phosphophyllite with 69 bits. We did not accept the results. We let Trump be president for 4 years, right? Like, Trump's the president. He's a shitty president, but he's the president. At no point did I not accept the results. Tolerance and diversity. Leftists preaching tolerance and diversity. Leftists when a conservative has something to say. When conservatives have something to say, it's often about how, like, if you get cancer, fuck you. Or, like, hey, racial injustice is a thing? Fuck that. I don't care. That'd be why. That'd be why people don't want to deal with your shit. Your political positions are not something that you just are. It's something that you choose to be. Title Bell with 20 bits. Hey, Hannah, I was wondering if you could explain Sargon's POV on the Electoral College. I don't know what he says in the Electoral College. Daddy Sume with 20 bits. I got a new chair because my fat ass broke the last one. That's nice. And then Tucker White 94 with 20 bits. Don't you just love when vaguely defined opponent tells you absurd conclusion when vaguely defined opponent spent the last 4 years straw man? That's pretty good. So this is from the Donald.win. Says, this many people are okay with Trump surrounding the White House with a ring of U.S. military if all other options fail. So 2,976 people from the Donald.win, which is the replacement for the Donald subreddit, are okay with Donald Trump using the military to try and stay in power even though he lost the election. That would certainly go well. Fat Baby Jake with 20 bits. Is there a convenient list of states with certification dates? Which states have already certified? It probably exists. I'm not sure, though. But a lot of the important states have. I mean, they're all important in one way or another, but I'm talking about the ones that, like, Trump was even bothering to try and subvert. Michigan's certified. Georgia's certified. Pennsylvania's supposed to certify... Is it this week or is it next week? I don't remember, but... Oh, wait, did Pennsylvania certify? Why am I not remembering Pennsylvania? Let me look.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Daddy Sume with 20 bits. Arkansas is not an important state, Hannah. It could be deleted from history and no one would notice a thing. I would refute your statement, but I literally know nothing about Arkansas, which may mean you're correct.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
He basically called someone a tyrant for wanting to abolish it. I was wondering how someone could come to that conclusion. Oh, okay. I can answer that in a sec.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Daddy Sume with 20 bits exactly. Okay, it looks like Pennsylvania hasn't certified yet. Okay, so... Sargon's wrong about it being tyrannical that if we removed the Electoral College. The idea behind the Electoral College, and you gotta understand that America as it existed in, you know, the 1780s is not the same as it exists today. Obviously. The identity of the United States has fundamentally changed all throughout its history, but especially at its beginning. Prior to the Civil War, it said that when people talked about the United States, it wasn't as often referred to as the United States as often as it was referred to as these United States. It's a subtle difference, but it does matter, and I think it goes to show the difference in how different eras of American history have viewed themselves, their states, and the context in which those states exist in a union together. Especially early on, the big fight between political parties was like Federalists versus Democratic Republicans. The Federalists wanted more centralized governmental power, whereas the Democratic Republicans, people like Thomas Jefferson, wanted states to be basically nations in and of themselves that just kind of got together and made rules with the other states, right? A republic of states. As time has gone on, however, we've seen over the past 200 plus years in the United States, federal power has grown and grown and grown. And to the point where after the Civil War, national identity became more important than your identity as a resident of a state, right? Whereas today, like, if you asked me, you know, where am I from, and I'm anywhere in the world, I'm not going to say I'm from Michigan. I would if I was pressed, but I would say I'm from America, right? So the Electoral College, when it was put into place, was basically a way to make sure, okay, we're going to elect a president, but we want to make sure that states with high populations don't overrule states with lower populations. That plus the 3/5 compromise and the Senate were all ways that more northern populous states were able to get together and compromise with the southern states in order to decide how the government was going to function. So, for instance, like, it's hard to explain because it's kind of a clusterfuck of how it all works. Basically, Sargon thinks that it's tyranny because if everyone has the same
nothing funny about the tools
vote,
of capitalism.
Which they should, but he sees this as tyranny because the situation was set up in such a way as to give an undue advantage to smaller states or states with lower populations, at least how it stands now. Like, yes, the amount of electoral votes that you get per state is decided based upon population of that state, but it isn't always 1-to-1, right? So, like, your vote, if you live in Montana, is worth more as an individual than my vote here in Michigan or someone who lives in New York.
That's right.
Because they're a less
Capitalistic propaganda.
populous state. There are fewer people deciding who gets those votes. So it's fewer people per electoral vote in terms of, like, power. Whereas if you live in, like, New York City, there are so many other people who live in the state of New York because of New York City and other areas surrounding it, that you are deciding who gets one electoral vote with many more people, right? So the Electoral College, in part, is a way to protect the autonomy of states within the United States, but I think it's an antiquated system that fails to recognize that we live in a modern world where we function as an individual country more so than individual states. I think that American identity at this point is much more important to people than their identity in terms of what state they come from, which is very different than it was when the Electoral College started being a thing. So Sargon believes that if we give people just the same equal power in each state, in his mind and the mind of Republicans, he goes, okay, well, more people live in New York, so New York is going to have more power. Now, that's fine to reasonable people because you recognize, well, yeah, that's where more Americans live. Like, New York should have more power on the stage of, like, federal government than Montana because more people live there, and that's just how democracy works. The majority rules. Now, don't get me wrong, the majority shouldn't have the power to, like, take rights away from people or hurt them. But nonetheless, if there's, like, a policy decision that's popular in the country, even if it's mainly around areas with, like, really densely populated people, that's still the popular opinion. It doesn't matter how closely together people live to close to each other, how they live. God, I am so bad at talking today. I'm sorry, guys. It doesn't matter how close together people are. Their vote should mean the same thing. Let me go through
Nothing
these.
funny about the tools of capitalism.
Sorry, I filmed, like, for 4 hours with Jake today, so I'm talked the fuck out. I gotta get back and read some of these.
There's nothing funny about the tools
Election
of
certification
capitalism.
tracker. Okay, cool. Can you get a bingo sub? Sure, one sec. Poet Lover 072 with 100 bits. Daddy
There's
Sume
nothing
is
funny
correct. I'm
about
from
the tools of
Roxon. The state is
capitalism.
trash. Phosphophyllite with 69 bits. Obviously, you can't tell the future, but do you think we'll see the fall of the GOP in our lifetime? I doubt it. It might change fundamentally, but as long as we have a first past the post system, it would be very hard to get rid of an entire political party. It would basically probably just have to be taken over from within. Tucker White 94 with 20 bits. Silly Hannah. Everyone knows the Electoral College is an infallible system that God herself bestowed upon America, the greatest country on earth. Chesabel, 20 bits. Unless you're from Texas. Texas always says we're from Texas, even if we hate the politics here, yeah. As Compu, Hannah, talk gooder. I know, I suck. Tucker White, 94 with 20 bits. Not to mention New York does have more power than the rest of the country because there's the whole rich and most... Because that's where the rich and most of corporate America, the real overlords, reside. True. Hold on, let me get to the bingo sub thing. Where was it? I gotta cross off the thing. Give me a sec. Okay. Gift sub should be processing.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Comrade Devin with 20 bits. Need a cleanse, some hopium. Check out this thriving mutual aid
There's
project in
nothing
my
funny
city.
about the tools of capitalism.
Community fridges pop up across New Orleans offering fresh food to families in need. That's pretty cool. That's nice.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
It's a good idea. My city has some of those, like, community library things, but I've not seen a community fridge. That's cool. Daddy Sume, you want to hear Belle Delphine got Did you hear that Belle Delphine got booted from YouTube? And then there's a link.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
I did hear about it, yeah. I don't know what the reason was, though. Okay, what else? Oh, that one was a joke. Lauren Southern is having a breakdown on Wikipedia. Oh no. Alt-right, white nationalist. Hello, Lauren Southern again here to correct this article myself. My last account was removed for self-impersonation, so I'm posting this again. Tucker White says, who's Belle Delphine and why should I care? I think she was the gamer girl bathwater person. I think I'd know best what my politics are, not websites or news sources which dislikes me immensely. Okay, good grammar. She's been described as alt-right and white nationalist. I am neither white nationalist or alt-right. Critics of Joe Biden, including mainstream sources, have called him a sexual predator. Yet you would never find this in his introductory paragraph on Wikipedia, because these are allegations from critics. If Wikipedia and the editors here want to even show a modicum of even-handedness, they would edit this page to remove white nationalist and alt-right from the opening paragraph, and if included anywhere else in the article, such as criticisms or something show that I have vehemently denied both allegations. I have linked to this talk page on my Twitter to ensure you know this is in fact my account.
That's right, capitalistic propaganda.
Oh god. They say hi. Oh, I'm missing some stuff. Let me go back and read it. Cupcake Chaos, thank you for resubscribing with a 7-month streak, and Canistultus, thank you for following. Whoopsie. They reply, hi Lauren, I've been following you long enough to remember when you made the Great Replacement video. I also remember how it inspired a mass shooting. On top of this, I remember when you and Faith Goldie insinuated that Quebec mosque attacks was really perpetrated by a Muslim. I remember when you went around Paris and filmed the streets complaining that there were too many brown people. Stop gaslighting the public into believing you're just an average conservative. If you were, you wouldn't be nearly as infamous, and you know it. You got your fame through shock value, not for being a normal person with conservative values. You got famous for hanging out with white supremacists and trying to physically stop boats with migrants reaching Europe, even though it is not a crime to claim asylum. As for your documentaries, I cannot speak to them, but I can say these millions of views you boast came from an audience that loved your white nationalist talking points. Do I believe people can change? Absolutely. Do I believe you're an evil Nazi? No. But don't act surprised that after making your bed, you're asked to sleep in it. Don't act surprised that when you hang out with dogs, you get fleas. I wish you the best, and I genuinely hope you find enough inner peace that you don't go to Wikipedia to fight random internet sleuths. That's pretty good.
There's nothing funny about
We'll move on to the videos in a sec, guys. Group of Latinos for Trump arrived at Huntington Beach Pier together to spread COVID and rally against curfew restrictions. Phosphophyllite, thank you for gifting a sub. Okay. That's probably enough of the Copenhagen stuff for today. Slow, thank you for following. So what should we do first? Let's see, we got this. Yeah, let's do this guy. This'll probably be brief. I don't know how long this could possibly last. What's this guy's name? Terrence K. Williams. This is a comedian, who has made his entire brand being a Trump supporter. Which, by the way, if you're ever planning on getting into any kind of media, whether it's something traditional or we're talking about like being a Twitch streamer or a YouTuber or an Instagrammer or a, you know, anything that involves your persona being in the public and that persona being basically a product or service that someone is taking part in. Like, you guys are watching this stream because you like whatever content I happen to put forward, or like how I bounce off of it, whatever, right? what you never want to do when forming your online persona is attaching it to something with an expiration date. Presidential candidates are pretty high up on the list of things you don't want to attach your internet persona, or persona in real life, God forbid, to. Like, I talked about this when we covered John Doyle, too. When John Doyle made his entire brand Trumpism, just worshiping Trump, you put an expiration date on your channel, basically, on the entirety of your routine when we're talking about this guy who talks about Trump stuff all the time and he's always wearing the MAGA hat, right? Like, even if Trump had won this election, which he didn't, but even if he had, you'd still be dealing with your entire identity going away, like in 4 years anyway. So it's just a bad idea. Bit of advice. Never make your persona attached to something like a political candidate or whatever. It can be about certain ideologies. Like, even if you're like a Trump supporter, you can't just make it about Trump and the hat. You gotta make it about certain policies or certain platforms. But I feel like a lot of those positions you might get in trouble for saying, but, you know, at least it would be honest and you wouldn't be putting an expiration date on yourself. Nick Fuentes, right? Nick Fuentes, dirtbag, absolute Nazi, but he's also not entirely tied to Trump, so Nick Fuentes can continue to do his thing after Trump goes away. John Doyle? Ooh, we'll see what happens there. Because when you're a fan of Trump, you can kind of by proxy be like, I believe these things without saying the things. We'll see. Dr. Gamble with 20 bits. A bit of me dies inside every time one of these folks chants USA and then Daddy Sume. Does OnlyFans count? I don't remember what that was in reference to. Anyway, I think we watched part of this video at some point, but, you know, this is the full context.
Can somebody tell me, where in the hell is the GOP? Where are they at? Where is the House and the Senate Republicans? Why are they not helping President Trump? I'm confused. Oh, I'm confused. Because President Trump endorsed half of those people, and President Trump rallied for those people. Where the hell are they at?
Okay, let me explain. So, Donald Trump probably did help a number of Senate and House candidates that he backed get their elections. It's entirely possible, and I think that there are plenty of cases where Trump's endorsement probably has helped people. But here's the thing, especially now that he is losing the election, why would it behoove any of the people who have a future in politics to try and get behind him? Because all it's going to do at this point, and let's be clear here, what Donald Trump is doing is having a big man baby fit. He is having a tantrum because he lost, and he can't stand to lose things because he's a narcissist. So, if someone who's like in the Senate or whatever, and you're a Republican, and you're going to get behind Donald Trump, not just by staying silent, which has been what most of these people have been doing, because they're trying to remain neutral, as if it's neutral not to talk when the president's trying to maintain power when he lost the election, but that's a completely different discussion. The point is, if they were to get behind Donald Trump, he has absolutely no legal backing for any of his claims, which is why all the lawsuits have been getting thrown out. He has no constitutional justification for trying to claim he should still be in power on January 20th afternoon. Like, he has nothing. So if you're someone who wants to continue to have a future in politics, you're a Republican and you're in the Senate or you're in the House of Representatives, and you get behind Donald Trump, you're going to make yourself look bad at this point by backing what is effectively a fucking coup, or at least a coup attempt. A dumb coup attempt, right? It'd be like if the Three Stooges tried to do a coup. And secondly, you are going to embarrassingly attach yourself to a loser, and a sore loser at that. Neither of which is good for your image going forward. Donald Trump can get away with a lot, right? People, for some reason, on the right, forgive Donald Trump of anything he does. But we found that that doesn't seem to be the case for everyone around Trump. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the fact that he clearly just doesn't give a shit. He doesn't let anything affect him. He's a complete narcissist who won't let anyone tell him that he's done anything wrong ever, and he will never admit it. And weirdly, that can work if you have enough power. But very few people have enough power to stave that kind of criticism off. So that's why I think Donald Trump can get away with having this man-baby fit, but if you want to have a future in politics, you're not going to do it. It's not going to work out. Title ballot damages their brand, yeah. That's a big part of it, I think. Tucker White 94, 20 bits. Allow me to answer your question, guy in recorded video. The majority of the House and Senate Republicans are what we call potty-trained Republicans, and they serve the rich. The potty-trained Republicans see the writing on the wall and want nothing to do with Trump anymore. Not only that, but Mitch McConnell sent him home for the holidays, so they're probably going to go spread COVID to their families at Thanksgiving or something. I don't know.
President Trump supported the House and the Senate Republicans. He's the reason why some of them got reelected. Now, where are they at? They need to help him get reelected. These Democrats.
The time to do that was before the election. The election's over. When the election's over, that's the end of the game. You tally up the score. That's how it works.
Democrats are trying to steal this damn election from the American people.
No, the American people voted for Joe Biden. And you should feel lucky. They also voted to probably give the Senate to the Republicans, or at least it'll be very, very close, depending on the results of the Senate runoffs in Georgia. And they gave more seats to Republicans in the House. But, resoundingly, Americans decided, okay, Joe Biden is the better choice by like 6 million votes. And even though that's the popular vote and people on the right don't seem to give a shit what the majority of American people believe, either way, he won the Electoral College too. The voting results are being certified across the country. They're going to send electors, and those electors are going to vote, as they always do, along partisan lines. Because I don't know if people know this too. That when people are like, oh, rogue electors, they're not sending random, neutral, gray person who, like, doesn't have a personality and is like, I do not know who I am here to vote for. The card says I vote for Biden, but I can be convinced otherwise. No. The people that they choose to send to go and vote in the Electoral College are partisan, right? Which is why in 2016, when there were a certain amount of, like people on the left who are like, oh, faithless electors will save us, and they'll vote for Hillary Clinton instead of Donald Trump, because this is the entire purpose of the Electoral College, to stop bad people from becoming the president. It's stupid. It's incredibly, incredibly stupid. It's not how it works. Electors are partisan. If you are a Trump elector, you are a Trump elector, and you will only get sent to vote if Trump wins the electors for that state. A Biden elector and a Trump elector are two different people. It's not one person who votes for one or the other based on the popular vote of the state. I just feel like that's a misconception a lot of people have, that it's like, oh, we have 16 electors for the state, and they're all the same group of people, and they're just going to vote differently depending on who wins, or if they change their mind.
There's
No.
nothing funny about the
They have
tools of
16
capitalism.
electors that they can send, and then depending on who wins the vote in the state, they send electors that will vote for Joe Biden. It's not just that they send someone who will vote for Joe Biden, it's that they are Joe Biden electors. Same thing applies to, like, states Trump won. Texas is not sending people who are going to vote for Joe Biden. Trump won the state. So all those electors that get selected for Texas are going to be Trump-supporting electors. Chesabel with 20 bits. My aunt is a superdelegate and was briefly considered as an elector. It's interesting.
They are corrupt. They are stealing. Where is the Republicans at? Where is the GOP? If they want my damn vote next time, they better step up for President Trump. If you want support
What next time?
from us, you better step up for President Trump. This don't make no sense. I'm going to ask one more time.
This is the panic of someone who is realizing that they've built their entire internet, like, grift on a person who just lost the election. Like, I understand that fear. I totes get it. He's gotten moderately popular, 150,000 subscribers on YouTube. That's not nothing. That's pretty good. Regularly getting almost 50, 35, 38, 24, 69, nice 1,000, views on these videos. That's pretty good. You could make a little bit of money on this, I don't know what else he's got going on. I think he has a Twitter and stuff too, maybe a parlor at this point, I don't know. But like, he's probably made a decent little bit of money on this, and he was expecting at least 4 more years of this grift. That's why you don't do that. Don't build your entire internet persona off of a candidate. You will lose, whether it's Donald Trump or Joe Biden or Bernie Sanders. Never be like, I'm the Bernie Sanders person, or I'm the Donald Trump person. Expiration date. That's all you've done. You stamped a big expiration date on your forehead.
Where is the GOP at when Trump needs them? Trump has been there for them. Trump has endorsed the House and the Senate Republicans. He is the reason why most of them got reelected. Now, where are they at when he needs them the most?
He's normally, someone's asking, how is this funny? Isn't he a comedian? His videos are normally attempting to be funny, or he'll do like tweets where it'll be like, you know how comedians tweet with jokes. He'll do that, and it'll be right-leaning Republican type stuff, but this is just desperation. I don't think this is supposed to be a comedy bit. He's just genuinely distraught that his grift is getting torn away from him 4 years too soon. Phosphophylite with 69 bits, nice. You get 8 years at most when you worship a president. Yep.
President Trump has fought for all of us. He has fought for me. He has fought for you. He fought for the House.
I still haven't had it explained to me by a Trump supporter how Donald Trump has ever fought for them, literally ever, with specific policy decisions, with any sort of specific bill or executive order. Just he fights for us. How?
He fought for the Senate Republicans. Where in the hell are they at? Why aren't they letting these Democrats do this?
Because we won. When you win the electoral vote, they let you do it.
I'm so sick of these damn rhinos. They need to step up and do something. They always let these Democrats run us over. This don't make no sense. This is not right. This is not fair. This is not the America that I know. I'm pissed off with the GOP. I'm about done with half of them. After this, I don't know if I'm going to support half of those senators. I don't know.
Please don't. Wouldn't it be God, guys. The idea of hardcore Trump Republicans splitting from the Republicans and forming like a Donald Trump political party that will siphon votes away from the Republicans. Like,
there's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Someone's gonna have to bonk me into horny jail because that is too much. Dr. Gamble with 100 bits. Hello, darkness, my old friend.
If I'm going to support all of those Republicans in the House,
Daddy Sume with 20 bits. Because you small-brained, red-hatted, butt-kissing, boot-slurping... Oh, wow, that's a lot of expletives. Okay. The elected officials are loyal to their constituents, not the president, of the people, by the people, for the people. There we go. I edited your comment a bit. Phosphophylite with 69 bits, bonk. Title Bell with 20 bits. Did you see the memes of the GOPers saying they're going to rebel against the GOP by not voting in Georgia? The man can dream. Yeah, I don't think it'll materially affect the election. It would be quite funny if it did, though. Tucker White 94, 20 bits. He's almost there. He's close to figuring it out. They're never close, guys. What's that thing where it's the lines that are forever like converging, but they never quite touch? That's conservatives and like getting it infinitely getting closer, but never touching. And Lid with 20 bits. This guy says the Democrats are always running Republicans over, except when Democrats lost in 2010, 2014, 2016, or when Republicans blocked a Dem Supreme Court justice pick, or this year with the Senate state races. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Cotton Candy 903. They say Democrats always win, yet seem to forget they won the last election. Yeah.
I don't know. If they can't support Trump, then I can't support them. And that's straight up.
Yes.
And that's just how it's going to be. I can't get down with those people if they can't step up and defend President Trump and defend America. President Trump is trying to save this country. Let me calm down. Let me calm down. I'm just pissed off with the GOP. I'm pissed off with them. I'm so pissed off. We got them reelected. We got these people back in office. We had their back. We helped them raise money. President Trump helped those people raise money. He helped them out, and they ain't nowhere to be found.
There's nothing
The
funny about the
GOP
tools of
can kiss
capitalism.
my black ass. I'm so sick of it. The Democrats can kiss my black ass too.
Sounds good. He has done a lot of videos since then. Let's see what's on his Twitter. What's his Twitter doing? Bumble Homestead with 100 bits. Imagine 30 years from now. A chapter in the kids' history book. The fall of the Republican Party, trumped by a Faustian bargain. Well, people... Okay.
There's
Yeah.
nothing funny about
Sure.
the tools of capitalism.
Title Bell with 20 bits. I love how he almost forgets to hate on the Dems and had to include it in the last second. And Cotton Candy 903 with 20 bits. This guy also doesn't realize that there is nothing that any of those people can actually
nothing
do,
funny
right?
about the tools
What does
of
he expect them to do? Trump lost the election. When you lose, you lose. There's nothing that can be done. Let me see what else we have to look at. 5 hours ago, he says, there will be no Biden administration. Good afternoon and have a good day. Hold on, I gotta follow this guy. Resist, go outside,
Nothing
visit
funny about
family,
the
visit
tools of
friends, and
capitalism.
live your life. Or stay inside and make sure your friends and family don't die. That'd be good too. Taryn says, you're damn right I stand with Sidney Powell. She's fighting for America. Even though the Donald Trump campaign and legal team has disavowed her. Terrence hasn't. Trust the plan, which is a QAnon meme, if you don't know. Tucker White 94, given how much we what? It's not over. Have a great morning. It's over. It's been over. It's been over for a while. Oh, is he? Oh no, I can't play the music. He's dancing though to YMCA. That's bad. This is from the 19th. What is with these people and dancing and thinking, like John Doyle did this too, where he also did the terrible Trump dance, which is pretty funny. Like as a third party, Trump dancing like this is fucking hilarious. I totally get that, but doing this to try and cope with his loss is a little, bad. Let's just say. Terrence has a Parler account. Can't say I'm shocked. What's this one?
Former cop, and I live in one of the reddest states in the nation, Oklahoma. And I've got a message for the 96% of black women who organized and stood in line and pushed others to help.
Oh, I need to watch out with the music.
There's
Oh,
nothing
he's
funny
tweeting
about
like
the
Donald
tools of
Trump now.
capitalism.
President Trump won the election legally. We need audits. Count every legal vote. We will overturn this election. It will be historic. Just wait and watch. We've been waiting and watching. You've produced nothing. People say Trump supporters can't cope with a loss, and I say we can't cope with cheating and will not give up until we win. Am I right or am I right? I don't trust anyone who says, am I right or am I right?
There's nothing funny about the tools of
Tucker White
capitalism.
94, take 2. Given how we exaggerate what ancient figures like Caligula actually did, I wonder how historians will exaggerate Donald Trump's already over-the-top presidency in 1,000 years from now. People aren't going to remember Donald Trump 1,000 years from now. This step is 1,000 dies with 20 bits. Dance the cope away. Be right back. Gotta go write that song. No one's going to remember a one-term president, regardless of how bad he was in 1,000 years. I shouldn't say no one. If you're someone who studies this era of American history, who knows if America will even exist in 1,000 years? I very much doubt it. But let's say, history exists similar to how it exists today and has existed. Someone who studies American history of this period will know about Trump, but the general public will not. No one will. Trump is awful and fashy as shit, but he's been stopped soon enough that I don't think he'll leave a lasting impression 1,000 years from now. Daddy Sume says, I think Hannah's a cutie patootie. Am I right or am I right? I hate it. I hate it so much. Dance the cope away. Be right back. Gotta go write that song. Honestly, I would think in 1,000 years, people would be relatively hard-pressed to know, like... I feel like in 1,000 years, the only people will remember from this time period, and I'm being very loose with what I mean by this time period, are like Adolf Hitler... And I'm trying to think of someone who's had as big of an effect on human history in the last, that they'll remember them in 1,000 years. Adolf Hitler. Maybe someone like Bill Gates for all the like malaria stuff, but again, I don't know. I don't know how that's gonna like turn out in the long run. Those are the two I can think of off the top of my head. I don't think sure, Einstein similar to how we remember Newton or something. Walt Disney, I don't know if people will remember Walt Disney. Walt Disney's remembrance will entirely depend on if Disney as a corporation continues to have cultural relevance. Disney isn't, it's old, but in 1,000 years, I don't think people will give a shit about any of the stuff that Disney made, Daddy Sume with 20 bits, do you know who the ruler of India was 1,000 years ago? Do you know who ruled Italy 1,000 years ago? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know I know historical figures from 1,000 years ago, but one or two, right? And even then I'd have to Google exactly when they came from.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
I just don't think people are... On the whole, in 1,000 years, if people still exist in the same or more numbers that they do today, if you go up to someone in the year 3020 and you say, hey, what do you think about Donald Trump? Pretend it's translated to whatever future language they're speaking. Or even if it's English, future English. Hey, what do you think about Donald Trump? They'd go, who are you talking about?
Capitalism.
And then you'd probably be like, he was an American president, a one-term president, and they'd go, America. America. Presidents. Okay, they had presidents. Yeah, I don't know any of the in 1,000 years, people might know who George Washington and maybe Abraham Lincoln was. I don't think they'll remember many other presidents. Arakaria 24 with 20 bits. I could care less if any contemporary nation is around, remembered fondly, as long as current marginalized groups aren't shit on like now. That would be nice. Although you do mean to say I couldn't care less, because if you say I could care less, it means you could care less. You're trying to say I couldn't care less because you already care the minimum amount. So you want to say I couldn't care less because you literally care the least amount you possibly could. But if you say I could care less, then you at least care somewhat. That's a pet peeve of mine, I'm sorry. Obama might be remembered for not being white. I'd like to think in 1,000 years that won't matter as much. Don't get me wrong. I still think, from our, perspective, yes, it's important for that to matter because of the context we live in. But I'd hope 1,000 years from now people will be like, what? Oh, they were different in skin color. Who cares? But people are kind of shitty, so I have a feeling that I don't know. Let's move on to something else. That's enough of Terrence for the day. We'll keep an eye on Terrence and see if he copes all right, you know, in the coming months.
About the tools of capitalism.
Midst a bits message. Okay, hold on. Tucker White 94. I'm willing to bet in 1,000 years we're living in a world 100% ruled by the mouse. I doubt it.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Daddy Sume with 20 bets in 1,000 years, we will have new marginalized groups, the born AIs versus the AIs created in labs, the brains and robots versus the robot brains. That sounds like a Futurama gag or something.
Tools of capitalism.
David Mitchell's soapbox. Okay. Terrence and Philip. Disney won't be around in 1,000 years, guys. Name a single organization that exists today that, like, not even an organization, a for-profit company that's existed for over 1,000 years. I think the oldest company is from Japan. It's like a hotel or something. Freemasons. Freemasons aren't a company. The Catholic Church. Catholic Church. They're not a business, though. And we can make all the jokes we want about that, but they're not. Religion is organized very differently than a religion. Capitalism? No.
There's nothing funny about the tools.
Does the Vatican count? No, they're not a business. Scientology? Guys, Scientology is not that old. Ugh, let's move on.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Daddy Sume with 20 bits. The world's oldest. Yeah, capitalism isn't 1,000 years old. Oldest companies in the world. The oldest businesses in the world. The oldest business, yeah. This. Oh, is it a restaurant? I thought it was a hotel. I apologize. China's Ma Yu Ching's Buckets Chicken House. Are these the years they were the oldest operating? Oh, no, it is. The oldest operating business is in Kongo, Gumayan, Japan, founded in 578. It's a construction company that specializes in shrines and temples. It was going strong for centuries until corporate debt brought it to its knees. In 2006, it lost its independent status and became a subsidiary of Takamatsu Construction Corp. That's interesting. I don't think Disney will continue to exist, though. What's the hotel I was thinking of then? I don't know. Poet Lover 072 with 100 bits. Hey, I'm back. Back again. Poet is back. What did I miss? Sung to the tune of Shady's back. Oh. Hey, I'm back. Back again. Poet's back. What I miss? Okay, that's not too bad. Who are we doing? Okay, fine. Alright, so Styx. Who at least isn't in a bathrobe in this video. Thanks for putting on a shirt. I appreciate that, Styx. Styx has a video about Sidney Powell being disavowed by the Trump legal team. Now, this, of course, comes after videos where Styx was defending Sidney and her ridiculous claims, and now Styx has to justify, okay, well, the Trump campaign itself has distanced themselves from Sidney, so what do I do to reconcile this? So let's find out how Styx is trying to deal with the problem of the Trump campaign themselves getting rid of someone he defended for being crazy. Only Facts Live, thanks for following.
Alright everyone, I'm being amused this morning by all the people talking about the Sidney Powell thing, because what happened is that the Trump campaign had to put out a presser reiterating that Sidney Powell is not technically speaking part of Trump's legal team and is acting on her own.
Oh god, let's take a look. Sidney Powell, we'll take a look at the actual statement real quick. Trump legal team disavows association with lawyer Sidney Powell. Is there a picture of the press release? No, I need a picture. Hello. Sidney Powell press release. There's a Wall Street Journal article. Do they have it? No. Politico. Someone have a copy of the actual press release. Come on. Sorry, I'm trying to find the actual press release that I'm not able to find for some reason. Trump campaign is disavowing its association with attorney Sidney Powell after the far-fetched Trump campaign Thursday press conference where she claimed without evidence that the deceased Hugo Chavez, who died 7 years ago, among others, was responsible for rigging the election. The campaign claimed that she is, quote, is not a member of the Trump legal team, end quote, even though the president and Trump's attorney, Rudy Giuliani, had previously identified her as being on the team.
Funny about the tools of capitalism.
Step is 1,000 eyes with 20 bits. They can't share the press release until court. Surprise evidence. In the days since the press conference, Powell has made additional unfounded claims to conservative networks, and her claims have been even questioned by Fox News' Tucker Carlson after she refused to produce her evidence on the show. Quote, Sidney Powell is practicing law on her own. She is not a member of the Trump legal team. She is also not a lawyer for the president in his personal capacity, end quote, said a statement from Giuliani and Trump campaign senior legal advisor Jenna Ellis. Quote, during Thursday's press conference, Giuliani identified Powell as a member of the team defending Mr. Trump, as the president himself identified Powell as someone working for him in the November 14th tweet. Quote, I look forward to Mayor Giuliani spearheading the legal effort to defend our right to free and fair elections. Rudy Giuliani, Joseph DeGenova, Victoria Toedsing, Sidney Powell, and Jenna Ellis, a truly great team, added to our other wonderful lawyers and representatives, Mr. Trump tweeted at the time. Powell issued this statement to CBS News, quote, I understand today's press release, she said. I will continue to represent #WeThePeople who had their votes for Trump and other Republicans stolen by massive fraud through Dominion and Smartmatic, and we will be filing suit soon. The chips will fall where they may, and we will defend the foundations of this great republic. #Kraken on steroids. On Thursday, Ellis called the team giving the press conference, which included Powell, the elite strike force team. Powell, Giuliani, and Ellis have claimed they're holding back their biggest evidence for court where they continue to lose lawsuit cases. Powell was the attorney for General Michael Flynn, the president's former national security advisor, who was fired for lying to Vice President Mike Pence about his Russian contacts and convicted of lying to the FBI about the same thing. So, she's been let go and distanced from the Trump campaign. Let's see how Styx feels about this.
Which is really, really funny, and this is why, like, when the Hammer scorecard claims came out initially, I was skeptical and said, well, you know, it's interesting as a story, but there's no evidence of it. And QAnon is a LARP, so when Sidney Powell is retweeting stuff related to that, it's like, you know, it's maybe not helpful.
Calling tweets about QAnon, backing it up, unhelpful, is the understatement of the century. My goodness. Arcana Stamber Blackwell with 100 bits. I bought bits to tell you should cover Styx's occult stuff. It's wild. He legit believes Lovecraft's stuff is real. That sounds hilarious. We'll probably do that someday. Does he have a separate channel for that? Or does he just pepper that in?
That being said, this situation is hilarious because you've got all the people that, like, they want Biden to win, as well as the black-pilled people talking about, oh, there's no Kraken, it's over, Trump has lost this time, and, you know, we haven't heard that before. And I'm thinking to myself,
because there's no Kraken. She's been let go from the legal team. The Kraken doesn't exist.
It almost looks like one of those classic situations, and I think I talked about this the other day, where Trump distracts people with shiny tinfoil while he's doing something totally different. Just like yesterday, I reported on the fact that some of the new filings that the Trump team is making have nothing to do with, like, Dominion or anything like that. They have to do with constitutional issues. They have to do with procedural issues. They have to do with the fact that in some of these cases, it looks like the states overstepped their legal authority to actually extend mail-in voting.
Yeah, they're trying to throw everything at the wall and see if it sticks because they've already exhausted the tenuous claims that they had at best through these affidavits, and those have all been thrown out. So at this point, they have to say, okay, we don't have any evidence of any actual, like, wrongdoing in terms of the election, in terms of any sort of attempted fraud, because, of course, there's no evidence that happened. So now they're going, okay, what can we try and say was procedurally wrong enough that we can get election results thrown out? Which is incredibly irresponsible, and again, just throwing stuff to see what sticks. They are trying absolutely everything at this point because all the avenues they have already exhausted have been fruitless. Entirely so. Arcana Stamper Blackwell with 20 bits and a link. Let me take a look. Occult Video 1, Simon Necronomicon. Okay, I will save this under Tinfoil Tuesday stuff, and we will do this maybe tomorrow.
If that's the case, if a judge construes it in the constitutional sense, at SCOTUS or at a federal court level, and says, look, these votes aren't even valid, that can swing a state without any further ado. You don't even need election fraud at that point. So it's sort of a high...
So, sticks at this point, once again, the goalposts are ever moving. Okay? So before it was clear fraud, according to Sticks, okay? It was obvious and clear fraud that they had tons of evidence of, and the Kraken is going to come out and prove it. Now that's all fake. Now that was a deception technique. And now... instead, what Styx is claiming is going to happen is that they're going to find some procedural wrongdoing constitutionally that will somehow embolden a judge to throw out the results of an election. What procedurally do you think could possibly have been done wrong that you're gonna throw out the votes of tens of millions of people and just hand an election to someone? Because that's not how elections or court works. You can't just say, I don't like the results, okay? Let me go and try and find some shit that might be questionable, and then if the one thing I said was true is true, then we just undo all the results of the election. How would that work? On what grounds would the judge decide, okay, this procedural thing was done wrong here, therefore, we're going to do the opposite of what the vote turned out to be? That doesn't make sense. Tucker White 94 with 20 bits. Take 256. Wait a minute. The former Venezuelan president who blew a nut on George W. Bush was behind the theft of the 2020 election? Forget Trump and his 4D chess. The Venezuelan leader was playing 100D chess.
Hybrid strategy he's using. But by and large, people never even heard about that from the lamestream media. Did you see much lamestream media reporting of the new Republican filings on that particular case in Pennsylvania? No. They were too busy talking about Rudy Giuliani sweating or Sidney Powell retweeting QAnon. It looks like the sort of situation where Trump has attempted to bait the MSM into not covering that, because if they're not covering it, they can't do like a mass debunking or something and demoralize people some more.
Dude, the mass debunking has already happened. If you're still on the Trump is going to win this in the courts thing, you're lost. There's absolutely no amount of fact-checking or debunking that will save you from the imminent disappointment. You've clearly deluded yourselves to levels that are inconceivable to the vast majority of people. Believe what you want, but it's fruitless. You're wasting your time and you're prolonging the suffering it's going that's going to hit you when you realize that Joe Biden won. And we've known he won for weeks at this point, and you're still denying it. Guys, it was funny at first, and I have been enjoying doing the MAGA Cope videos, but at a certain point, it's just exhausting. It's funny in the way that, like, maybe for 5 seconds, a kid pouting is funny, especially if it's over something stupid and you know they're clearly wrong because they're children and they're nonsensical. So it's a little funny seeing them behave so irrationally for like 5 seconds, and then you realize, oh no, now we just have a screaming toddler that's going to irrationally yell about a thing that doesn't make any sense and they're wrong about. This is what it's like at this point. And it is endlessly frustrating. Tucker White 94, 20 bits. Now I see why it took me so many tries to get that message through. Chavez's first name's the same as your dead name. Oh, okay. Daddy Sume with 20 bits. Holy shit, Hannah, I'm in the first place for bits. Bow before me, peasants.
And that would be classic Trump, but I'm not claiming that's the fact. I'm claiming that's a possibility. Likewise, you do realize Giuliani at that same presser, where Sidney Powell steals the show, everything short of Giuliani sweating because he happens to be standing there having to talk nonstop for a fucking hour, and obviously he's just totally lost it. He's just totally stupid and decided to dye his hair right beforehand. Oh, that Giuliani, he's known for that sort of thing. Well, he's not, but, you know, they take...
He literally did it, though. What do you mean? Giuliani's known for being stupid lately, if that's what you're saying. Are you saying that people are saying it's a trope that he dyes his hair often before things? I don't think so, but it's pretty clear he did before that particular event because it was slipping off his face. You guys, I'm sure you all saw it, but just to be clear, Rudy Giuliani press conference. Let's do the sweat. That'll do. Like, this was hilarious. He was, like, leaking hair dye. It's so bizarre. So that's why people brought it up. Now, I get it. The memes shouldn't overshadow what's being said, but it's always going to because of the way stuff like this propagates. Like the Mike Pence fly on head thing, which it's like, oh my god, guys, I get it. Haha, it's funny for 5 seconds, but y'all punch it into the ground almost immediately. And then the fucking Saturday Night Live sketch happens, and you're like, oh my god, make it stop. Either way, the point is, yes, people cover that stuff, but that's just because people get distracted by striking visuals. It doesn't change the fact that Rudy Giuliani was off the fucking deep end during that whole thing. Thank you, Jouster Zen, for the 200 bits.
Take the bait very easily. Is showing clear evidence of fraud, at least on some level.
Again, there's been no evidence of fraud at the level these people are talking about. In fact, the 2 cases of actual voter fraud I know of from this election were both Trump supporters. Like, just putting it out there.
If not systemic rigging, we do have affidavits by poll watchers.
We have affidavits. That's all you have. It's affidavits and charts none of you understand. Failed art kid with 50 bits. Hi, Hannah. Hope you're doing well, even with the chuds being Trump's personal bitches. Thank you. I'm doing okay.
By election officials, by U.S. postal workers, and by others that are saying that there were irregularities of one sort or another in various states. We have these affidavits.
All of which have been thrown out of court because, as it turns out, claiming, and bear in mind, these affidavits aren't things like, oh, I was informed by my superior that we need to make a bunch of fake Joe Biden ballots and get rid of these legitimate Trump votes, and I was ordered to send these to be shredded. It's nothing like that. It's like, oh, literally one of them was, I heard another poll worker say they heard a bunch of poll workers backdating ballots with no supporting evidence other than she said she heard someone say that. There were similar ones. There was one from a guy that got paid $139,000 from Veritas. Like, it's all bullshit. There's a reason that all these court cases have been thrown out, because none of these affidavits have anything resembling backing to support the claims being made. Like, affidavits, we got 100. Okay, I can bring you fucking 1,000 affidavits saying any benign nonsense. Any claim you can get affidavits for if you ask enough people. It's just frustrating to me that they're like, we got 100 Trump voters to come and say that they saw irregularities. All right. That and a couple bucks, you can maybe get a cup of coffee. I don't know. You can't just make claims, even claims under oath, and assume people to believe you without backing evidence.
What will end up happening at the court level in any filing that's not thrown out, and keep in mind, just because a filing is thrown out doesn't mean it doesn't go to a higher court anyway. If SCOTUS takes this up and looks at these affidavits and says, look, under the circumstances, because of the broadness of what's gone on, we can't allow the certification of certain states' results, you could get into a situation
And this is the leap they're making that I think you all need to be clear on what exactly they're saying here. Their claim, based on these affidavits, which are bullshit in the first place, but the claims of some of these affidavits are things like ballots being backdated so certain mail-in ballots can be counted when they came in maybe a day or something late. I don't know. And they're saying that because certain ballots may have done that, which again, there's no evidence for outside of these affidavits. Like I said, it's all hearsay bullshit. They're saying because of that, we should therefore not only throw out the entirety of the election in that particular state, let's say it's Michigan or Georgia or Pennsylvania, they're saying we should throw away all of these votes, whether it's hundreds of thousands or millions of votes, and none of it counts, and just because these states have Republican legislatures, we should give those states to Donald Trump. That's what they're saying. There's no A to B to C. Some of these votes might have been backdated. No evidence of this. That's their claim. Without evidence, you're saying that these votes are backdated, a very small select number, therefore we should disenfranchise millions of voters. How do you make that connection? They're literal fucking children, but they're worse than children. They're fascist children. They're fascist children whose daddy lost the contest, and now, even though the rules were set up beforehand and everyone agreed to them, because they lost the game, they're now claiming, oh, no. You know that kid when you played games, and you'd like, oh, tag, you're it, and they're like, no, I have immunity, I'm by the slide. They'll just make up rules so that they can win regardless of what's happening. This is who these fuckers grew up to be. A bunch of whiny, creepy fascists. It's fucking annoying. Tucker White 94, 20 bits. At this point, Trump's lawyers might as well say that these votes shouldn't count because Biden is a duty face. Yeah, it's stupid.
Where the election ends up going to essentially state legislative bodies that are overwhelmingly run by Republicans. That could end up happening. Where they end up selecting Donald Trump potentially in that situation. Now, if they go by popular vote, they wouldn't. Technically, if they look at it and they say, well, you know, there's an allegation of fraud, we have to choose what we're going to do here, but we think that Biden won it anyway, they could choose Biden. Then, by the way, it would be all over. Biden wouldn't even have an asterisk after his presidency because it wouldn't even...
There's no asterisk after his presidency now! I know you're so desperate. You're so desperate to not want to admit that Donald Trump lost. But please, for the sake of yourself, stop wearing the bathrobe in half your videos, and please get in touch with reality. It's been trying to get in touch with you for weeks. For the love of God, just answer the phone and let reality know you're okay.
Even be related to fraud, it'd be a decision made by these legislative groups. However, is that likely to happen? I think it's more likely that this plays out largely in SCOTUS. And Giuliani sits there for half an hour reading off affidavits. You've got video and photographic evidence of shenanigans going on. Thousands of people claiming that there were things going on. And these people, in many cases, are officials. These are people that were in proximity to what was going on at polling places and the...
Yes. Yep. They're right-wing people who were volunteering for the Trump campaign to either go and watch the ballot count or to actually count ballots themselves. No one else in the system seemed to think anything's wrong, and election officials have said everything's fine. But because a bunch of partisan hacks have come forward and put their little blurb into these affidavits, all of a sudden, we're supposed to disenfranchise millions of voters because Donald Trump is a pouty baby man. Fucking ridiculous. Tired Park with 20 bits, but Hannah, it's statistically impossible for Biden to get more votes because it hurts my feelings. Yeah. Title Bell with 20 bits, what does he mean it might go to SCOTUS? He thinks that any of these lawsuits, which have been thrown out, he thinks they're going to get appealed up to SCOTUS. I don't think they will, but I guess we'll see.
Mail and so forth, that is of import. That, in combination with the potential in multiple states of a constitutional argument whereby, for instance, with Act 77 in Pennsylvania, the allegation is that the standing legislation, which was passed by a Republican-controlled legislature, not that that matters, as we've seen with people like Romney, they don't necessarily are Trump fans. They pass legislation. The Trump team is arguing the legislation is null and void. They're arguing that it's null and void. Any mail-in ballots from after November 3rd cannot legally be counted because it countermands the Pennsylvania state constitution. That's basically what they're arguing. Whether or not a federal judge or the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania agrees doesn't matter if it goes before SCOTUS. SCOTUS, I believe, would find in Trump's favor there. It's a clear-cut argument. The idea that Sidney Powell falling out of favor because she decided to go haywire at a press conference and make claims about voting systems or QAnon or something that, you know, people find a little bit kooky, that doesn't matter. It's a distraction. And
it matters. It means that the people who are supposedly working on Trump's orchestrated victory after the election have no control over the narrative. It shows that they're hiring nutbag fringe people because they are out of legitimate options for legal recourse. Because lawyers who are legitimate, who've actually looked at these cases, have tried and failed to put these before judges and then left the Trump campaign's legal team because of it. We saw this in some of the Pennsylvania cases. The law firm that was representing Trump in those pulled out. The Trump legal team is a mess. I don't know how much clearer it can be. Like, Rudy Giuliani, who held a press conference in front of a lawn care business next to a porn shop because because Trump tweeted about the Four Seasons Hotel and then the hotel said no, is in charge of this legal team. Like, I cannot reiterate how stupid this coup attempt is. Why is Styx surprised? Why are you continually surprised when the people who are going to bat for your fascist daddy are complete idiots? Like, you can try and construe it all you want. Oh, it's 5D chess. It's not. They just suck. They just suck.
it's probably on purpose. Yeah, it probably is just Trump being Trump, and he's done this before. It's like, you remember with the Omarosa thing, where Omarosa was saying weird shit about Trump, and at the time I said, well, I think that she might be on his payroll still. She literally, like, gets paid to play the anti-Trump villain thing, to solidify his support, number one, and to distract people, number two. I even thought that maybe Stormy Daniels fell into that category. I don't think so. Although she didn't she end up suing Avenatti? Didn't she stab him in the back afterwards? And now I think isn't he in jail? He got put in jail on, what was it, fraud charges or something? It seems to happen an awful lot. Bolton. I always thought that when Bolton was chosen, it was 4D chess. And I know that term, some people that are more black-pilled, they'll be like, well, there never was 4D chess. Trump really is a moron. Yes, of course. He becomes a multi-billionaire, gains the presidency, runs rings around his opponents for years, but now all of a sudden he's a dumbass. In retro.
No, he's been a dumbass the whole time. Have you heard of failing upward? Have you heard of the term failing upward? Donald Trump is dumb as fuck. He's incredibly stupid. And the thing is, it's a multi-factor problem for Trump. Because on the one hand, I don't think there's anything like physically wrong with him. I think he's completely capable of learning. I think it's a problem of never being told no. And I talked about this the other day on stream, that like a lot of the reasons human beings grow and change as individuals and learn to have sort of like moral fortitude, any sort of like personal growth you have in terms of learning to work with others and learning to operate within systems comes with bumping into obstacles, right? You want something, someone else with similar power levels to you or even higher or lower power levels want something different. You compromise, and that's going to be relative to who's, more powerful in the situation, right? Or how much empathy you are willing to give to their point of view or whatever, right? We all have to learn to work with other people and work within these systems because we don't have millions and millions and millions, if not billions of dollars just to pay people off or sue them or whatever. Donald Trump has never learned these things. All he knows how to do is to yell at people and tell him he's gonna sue them, which we see all the time. It's literally what he's doing now. He's facing a loss, and instead of conceding respectably, like like every election, instead he's gonna cry and scream, blame other people, and sue, because that's always worked for him, right? He gets very far because he was born with a golden spoon in his mouth. Not even silver, fucking gold. That man has never had to worry about a single meal in his entire life. This is a man who has never ever struggled, and because of that, he's pretty dumb. He's pretty dumb. He's pretty stupid. And on top of that, you have potential mental decline coming from old age anyway. Yeah, he's just a moron. And I know Sticks is like, well, look at how rich he is. Yeah, his wealth is part of the reason he's stupid. Stupid people are rich all the time. Look at Tate. Tate's wealthy. He's also an idiot. Harriest Nick, thank you for subscribing with Prime.
Okay. Totally believable. I thought that he chose Bolton basically to, as a sort of veiled threat to the third world, stay in line, because now, basically tricking them into thinking he's going to do a 180 and bomb people. Well, he threw Bolton under the bus too.
Fucking yikes. If you at any point believe that a political candidate or a politician is putting in someone in some position because they believe that the threat of that person in their position will implicitly make third world or developing countries believe that you are about to bomb them or invade them, then that politician is a shitbag. If you are using the threat of the largest military on the planet coming to fuck you up the way that America's military is one to do, then fuck you. Anyone who thinks that's an appropriate strategy is such a shit. What an absolute shit. And yes, Trump did literally drone strike an Iranian general. Yes, he bombed that airfield. I'm aware.
Haven't heard much about his book lately. But it was a bombshell, just like Trump's tax returns that the New York Times started talking about a few months ago. Where'd that story go? I thought it was earth-shattering.
I agree. It is earth-shattering. Another fucking billionaire has paid no taxes. I'm shocked. And hey, Sticks, I do think that may have had some sort of material effect, considering Trump lost the election. Something to consider.
We were going to get evidence that Trump lied and cheated on his taxes. Where's the evidence, dude? The story goddamn disappeared.
The irony of Sticks in a video trying to promote the idea that there's voter fraud, telling other people to provide evidence, is, again, exhausting. This is all exhausting.
This happens over and over again. By the way, the legacy media would love nothing better than for Trump to end up managing to flip a couple of states and gain the election, because then it would be the ultimate comeback story, and they could complain about election interference and coups and stuff like that, and they'd have good stuff to write about for 4 years, as opposed to Biden, then they have to do fluff pieces again like they did for 8 years under Obama. But no, the Sidney Powell saga continues, and she's she's freelance apparently. She supports Trump, and she claims there's evidence of millions of fraudulent votes. This falls in line vaguely with what Giuliani said, but when Giuliani was talking about this, I got the sense that he was talking about the Pennsylvania filings related to the state constitution. Well, yeah, you do have hundreds of thousands of fraudulent ballots, if you assume that those ballots are illegal to begin with because the Constitution countermands Act 77.
Wow, the amount of stretching and pliability he's willing to apply to Rudy Giuliani's words. Absolutely astronomical. No, Rudy Giuliani was not playing 5D chess, or 8D backgammon, or 12th D high lie, whatever the fuck you want to say he's doing when he says there are hundreds of thousands of fraudulent ballots. He literally is just trying to delegitimize people who didn't vote for Donald Trump. They're just trying to overthrow the election by getting rid of any Biden votes they possibly can. He's not literally thinking, well, under this, I believe that mail-in votes shouldn't count, which is fucked up in the first place, by the way. Guys, mail-in voting has been a thing since after the Civil War. It is not a new thing. It is fine. And these people trying to undermine the election by claiming that millions of people should have their votes thrown away is so... It's not fasci. It's fascist. It's just fascist. They want to take over the government and be authoritarian and never let anyone outside of the party win an election ever again. That's horrifying. Daddy Sume with 20 bits. Paradox, Billiards, Vost. Oh, God. Paradox. Hold on.
Anything but inspect this temple of capitalism.
The Mannequin, thank you for rating. Daddy Sume, Paradox, Billiards, Vostroyan Roulette, Fourth Dimensional Hypercube, Chess, Strip Poker.
Technically, they're fraudulent. They were officially printed. Now they're starting to talk about how it looked like some of the ballots that were turned in were pristine. Like it looked like they were printed up on demand. And so you have all these full audits
Because as we all know, between when you get the ballot, you just carry it around for a week, right? So it looks all grubby and dirty. It's not like you literally just get the ballot, fill it in, and immediately put it back in an envelope. Or if you do it in person, like I did, it's not like you get the ballot, immediately go to the table, fill it out, and then put it in the machine. Of course it looks pristine, you fucking idiot. It's a ballot. You don't take it outside with you and roll in the mud. What are you talking about? Alabale Soul, thank you for the 20 bits. Hey, Hannah, hello.
going on, including of signatures. I think they're going to find...
Oh, shit. Hold on. Trump's administration officially authorizes Biden transition. Oh, good. This comes as Biden's transition has been hampered by the GSA amid Trump falsely claiming victory and fighting the certification of votes in several swing states. With the backing of President Donald Trump, the head of the General Services Administration informed President-elect Joe Biden on Monday that the official governmental transition process has been approved. GSA Administrator Emily Murphy, after weeks of delay, said in a letter to Biden that he is now able to access millions of dollars in federal funds and other resources to begin his transition of power. Trump, in a pair of tweets, vowed to continue his legal fight, but said, "I am recommending that Emily and her team do what needs to be done with regard to initial protocols and have told my team to do the same." I want to thank Emily Murphy at GSA for her steadfast dedication and loyalty to our country. She has been harassed, threatened, and abused, and I do not want to see this happen to her family or employees of GSA. Our case strongly continues. We will keep up the good... Hold on, let me click on this. Can I just go to the... We will keep up the good fight, and I believe we will prevail. Nevertheless, in the best interest of our country, I am recommending that Emily and her team do what needs to be done with regard to initial protocols and have told my team to do the same. Oh, Donald Trump didn't write this tweet. You know how I can tell Donald Trump didn't write this tweet? He used the word protocols, which I don't think Trump knows the word protocols. He also used an ellipsis correctly. And he also said, in the best interests of our country, which I don't think Trump is capable of understanding either. The Biden campaign celebrated the news in a statement. Today's decision is a needed step to begin tackling the challenges facing our nation, including getting the pandemic under control and our economy back on track. Biden transition advisor Johannes Abraham said, "The final decision is a definitive administrative action to formally begin the transition process with federal agencies." That's good. I'm glad. I'm curious what Styx is going to say about this shit.
that there's a lot of problems in there. Maybe not even enough to flip states, but...
Trump right now? I shouldn't play that.
As of...
Copyright.
But I think that at the end of this, regardless of what happens, Americans are going to have a bit more evidence that our election system is fundamentally broken. And it is. And by the way, leftist groups reported on that widely in years past. In fact, after every fucking election, regardless of who won, well, there were all these irregularities. This voting system's wrong, that one's wrong. Now, all of a sudden, it's all ironclad and none of those things exist anymore in their minds. Do you think that that's a little bit suspicious? I certainly do. That's about all.
You're right, I haven't seen JoJo. I'm not a weeb. So Styx is, still in denial. Frustrating, but not unexpected. So, this guy, Bryson Gray, is a rapper for Trump. Here's a rap he did. It's a Christmas rap about how he thinks Trump won. Devious Children with 30 bits. This is apparently the official letter. Saw it over Twitter. Is that the letter of... Dear Mr. Biden, as the Administrator of the U.S. General Services Administration, I have the ability under the Presidential Transition Act of 1963, as amended, to make certain post-election resources and services available to assist in the event of a presidential transition. See 3 U.S.C., blah, blah. I take the role seriously, and because of recent developments involving legal challenges and certifications of election results, I am transitioning this letter today to make those resources and services available to you. I have dedicated much of my adult life to public service, and I have always strived to do what is right. Please know that I came to my decision independently based on the law of available facts. I never directly or indirectly pressured by any executive branch official, including those who work at the White House or GSA, with regard to the substance and timing of my decision. That seems like he's trying to cover for someone, but okay. To be clear, I did not receive any direction to delay my determination. I did, however, receive threats online, by phone, and by mail directed at my safety, my family, my staff, and even my pets, in an effort to coerce me into making this determination prematurely. Even in the face of 1,000 threats, I always remained committed to uphold the law. Oh, fuck off. Do your job. Contrary to media reports and insinuations, my decision was not made out of fear of favoritism. It's literally just this person trying to fucking save face. Fuck this person.
Trump won, ayy, everybody know that. Democrats, ayy, they think that they stole that. Ayy, Dominion voting systems, let's expose that. Ayy, they give him the L, let him hold that. He Biden in jail, his son as well. They think they got away. Why y'all the Clintons and the voting systems connected in any way? Ayy, why the election servers out in foreign countries? Who benefits from that and who give them money? Don't get mad at me because I'm asking questions. I don't trust the system till somebody get arrested. Ayy, I bet Trump is announced president by Christmas. Ayy, the inauguration gonna be big lit. Ayy, telling Tifa, ayy, please don't get it twisted. Cause I bought that AER that I had on my wish list. Ayy, Million MAGA March, Patriots linked up. Ayy, and Tifa popped out, but they got beat up. Ayy, Proud Boy improve, I got my heat up. Ayy, MAGA gang, CAD gang, we bout to tee up. Trump won, ayy, everybody know that. Ayy, Democrats, ayy, they think that they stole that. Ayy, Dominion voting systems, let's expose that. Ayy, they give him the L, let him hold that. He Biden in jail, his son as well. They think they got away. Why y'all the Clintons and the voting?
So this guy's career is probably over. Oh, he's live streaming.
Oh, they got MAGA stepping hats. Oh, we lit,
Oh, he's got
bro.
a shirt that says LGBT, Liberty Guns, Beer, Trump. It's good to build your entire identity, both personal and professional, off of a political candidate. Good idea.
Oh, they got the Patriots versus everybody has? Hold up. Could I get some of my own merch? Do I have to buy it? I did a merch deal with a company. Chris Butler with the $5. Thank you so much. Air Extreme with the $2. Thank you so much, brother. You need that Patriots versus everybody hoodie? Yo, I'm telling you, that hoodie is fire. I think I gotta go to the warehouse Wednesday. They gotta give me. I need a hoodie. What are they talking about?
I'm gonna comment and tell them that
I need a hoodie now. Oh, my body, my choice. I'm sure that's how the baby feels. That's nice. Okay.
the Trump administration has...
I'm sorry, y'all haven't been reading the chat. I'm
having a hard time typing and listening to... Trump administration has okayed the transition process to begin for the Biden administration. Thoughts?
versus everybody. I'm not gonna even lie, bro. In my opinion, I bet Patriots versus everybody is the one, bro. In my opinion. I need some Christmas sweaters, don't I, y'all? Keep it a band. Yo, and the Make America Godly again is playing too. Yo, Tiger Lily with the $3. Thank you so much. Listen, hey, thank y'all so much for everything, man. Of course, we had 724 likes. Before I get off here, can people hit the like button? I just want to see how we can get up real quick. And hey, BrysonCreates.com. What y'all talking about? Let's go. BrysonCreates.com. I got a merch site now. I'm excited. Come on, stop playing with me. Let's smash that like button. Let's go. Let's go. Who do I like? Boy, Trump or Biden? First of all, I don't like Biden. Internal Affairs Auto with the $5. Can we get a bar? Gun toting patriot. I'm a gun-toting patriot, God-fearing patriot. Bryson, why they mad? Because I'm real and they be faking it. Free speech advocate, it's on my mind, I'm saying it. I'm about to buy another gun and ain't nobody taking it. Gun-toting, Bible reading, God believing, truth speaking American this MAGA season. Democrats committing treason. Let's go. I'm hyped. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just hyped because I got the merch site up. Shekinah, pretty lady, you gonna buy some of my merch? Please. I got merch. Oh, we jumped up to 810 likes. Man, stop playing. Y'all know the game, man. MAGA gang, CAD gang, same thing, man. Somebody keep typing in Trump lost. Bro, you've been in my live since I started this live. So you've been in this live for 41 minutes. All you keep telling you copy and pasting Trump lost. Why are you in here watching me? What is your obsession, my guy? What is your obsession? What is your obsession? Let me help you out. I'm about to tell you what's gonna happen. Let me try to find this song right quick. Me and Tyson James made, right before I get up off here. This gonna be my outro music right here. My outro music right here. Let me show you something. Let me see if it's on the tube. Oh yeah, let's get it. I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. Let's go. Let's go.
Put me in the game, I ball a name, talking cataracts. This been guys' pants since I was riding in a Cadillac. I can fit.
Well, that's depressing. Literally watching someone's career end. Just saying. I don't know. What's this lady got to say? This lady, oh god. Okay, so this is a channel called Destiny Image. This came out today, November 23rd. Wow. Okay. Yeah, this came out today. This is our 1775 from Janet Porter.
Where are we in the battle for our constitutional republic? Attorney Sidney Powell said it best.
It is the 1775 of our generation. And
this is Sidney Powell, the lawyer who has been fired from the Trump legal team as of like yesterday for espousing QAnon conspiracy theories and other conspiracies.
And beyond.
Much like then, American heroes today are being censored, mocked, threatened, and now prohibited from observing and verifying our votes.
Oh my god, you weren't prevented from either of those things. You were not prevented from either watching the votes get counted. Again, in court, Trump's lawyers said, yes, we did have observers in the room. Stop believing the lies that they are saying outside of the courtroom where they aren't being held under penalty of perjury. Because once they are and they're in front of the judge, they're like, no, there's no fraud. We don't have any allegations of fraud. Because they know they'll get in trouble for doing that. Because it's illegal to lie under oath, as it turns out.
These heroes are undaunted. You see, in 1775, American patriots weren't treated like heroes either. Only about 25% supported the American Revolution. Only 7 to 8% actually participated.
Failed art kid with 50 bits. Sidney Powell's voice cracked worse than mine when my tee shots finally started kicking in.
But God is famous for working through remnants.
Oh my god. Look, if you're religious, that's fine. But God was not working through the founding fathers to create America. Nations rise and nations fall all the time. History is full of it, and it's because of human action, not because of divine intervention.
Our founders in 1775 so believed in liberty.
Tucker White 94, a citation is needed for those American Revolution support numbers. I know that they were surprisingly low. I mean, the country was pretty split. As it turns out, surprise, surprise, pretty much no matter what the political issue is, you know, a population of any given size is going to have differing political opinions within it.
That they were willing to fight the most powerful nation on earth. If they had the internet then, Patrick Henry's declaration may have looked like this. Fact-checked that the projected...
Great Britain is the projected winner of the Revolutionary War. You know, how we project winners of wars that are ongoing? What? Okay, if the news was reporting that, like, a certain person won the war and the war was over, it's probably because that's the correct thing that they're reporting on, right? We aren't in the middle of the Revolutionary War right now. We're weeks after an election. An election Joe Biden won and Donald Trump lost. Frustrating.
Winner of the Revolutionary War is Great Britain. But despite what the fact-checkers may have proclaimed, we won the battle for liberty, and we will win it again.
I never say anything I can't prove. And President Trump won by not just hundreds of thousands of votes, but by millions of votes.
The lines are drawn, and the battle is for liberty or tyranny again. Our history is being written right now. On which side will your name appear? Remember, the same side that put Republicans in pens to prevent verification of...
Put them in pens! They're outside! They're on the outside! What are you talking about?
Our votes also wants to lock us in our homes.
Those people who...
Oh my god. It's a disease, you idiots. You idiots!
Voted. You made this happen.
Who won by millions again? Let's see. Oh, look. Joe Biden won by 6 million votes. Weird how that works, huh?
Yes, the side that celebrated election fraud in the streets wants to prohibit...
No. They were celebrating Donald Trump losing, as it turns out. Weird how you can make sentences seem really, really misleading when you word them that way.
Thanksgiving and cancel your Christmas.
We have 100 more of these. I can't show them to you because those people don't want to be harassed. They don't want to be...
We have 100 people who made these claims, but I can't show them to you. Trust me, though.
Have their lives torn apart by the goons on the other side.
The only lawyer that left a case left because he was threatened. His family was threatened. His children were threatened. And so was the other lawyer. Yeah, that's true. We have a little difficulty getting lawyers because our lawyers get threatened with being killed.
A lawyer shouldn't have to...
Or, hear me out on this one. Or, the lawyers don't want their law licenses taken away for committing malpractice or lying in front of a court by saying that there's fraud when there's absolutely no evidence to that effect. Maybe consider that.
Withdraw from the case because he's representing the President of the United States.
Those threatening our lawyers and doxing our witnesses are the same ones attacking our elderly in the streets. You see, this isn't just a battle for our president, our votes, and our Constitution. It's an American revolution against a Marxist mob rule.
Dr. Gamble with 20 bits to these. People even think before they speak. How dumb do you look when you are saying the fact checkers are wrong? That like saying the doctors are wrong about COVID. Oh, wait, yeah, they're stupid.
Always remember, they are...
It's almost like hoisting up anti-intellectualism as a virtue will cause a severe brain drain for your side, and then everyone who ends up agreeing with you are only stupid people, and then you're not good at getting anything done. It's weird how that works.
Coming after me because I am fighting for you. That's what's happening.
The president's been fighting for us. Now it's time to stand with him. It was in 1776 when our heroic founders pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor. We must do no less. But this battle runs...
Their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor. How'd some of them make those fortunes? Just curious. Thomas Jefferson, specifically.
It's much deeper than the swamp. We are wrestling against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in heavenly places. The good news is that in addition to the truth, the evidence, the Constitution, and the U.S. Supreme Court, we have something else they don't have. A God that is more powerful than all the principalities and powers.
And he's this white guy! Yay! You think the disciples are like, damn, Jesus. We are out in the sun, walking by the Sea of Galilee every day. How do you keep so porcelain white?
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
American politics is so exhausting. Cotton Candy 903 with 20 bits. If there's anything this election has taught me, it's that the right is almost too stupid to live. Is that Cat Stevens?
While they mock God, his principles, and claim dominion, God sits in the heavens and laughs. But to prevail against the strongholds we're facing, it's going to take more than a passing prayer. It's time to bring out the big guns.
It's so weird to me. Like, I don't even believe that there's a deity, right? But, like, if there were, and they were, like... And this is going to be, obviously, because everyone thinks that their morals are the morally correct ones. But to me, it seems like if there was an all-powerful, omnipotent, omniscient creator of the universe, wouldn't that creator, like, look at Republicans and just be like, you dumb, dumb people? Like, you have science, and you're pretending a virus doesn't exist. What are you doing? And you're trying to subvert, like, democratic elections. Not cool. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Time to fast, in some way, until this war is won. This is our 1775. So let's do what our heroic fathers did, inspired by the writings of John...
What are these, like, the morphs that are happening as the transitions are so terrible? Tucker White 94 with 20 bits. Oh shit, God's on their side? Okay, pack it up, guys. All the George Soros, blessed be his name, money in the world isn't going to defeat a sky fairy. True.
Unlock, they made an appeal to heaven. This is the flag George Washington commissioned to fly over our ships in the American Revolution. It was the banner we were born under. Now it's time to make an appeal to heaven again.
Nothing funny about the tools of
Father, we praise you and thank you for how richly you have blessed America, and ask for your grace and mercy on our nation once again. We appeal to you, the one who said, "Let there be light," and thank you that nothing is secret that will not be revealed, nor anything hidden that will not be known and come to light. We pray for you to give courage to the whistleblowers, to expose what they have seen now, so that every shred of evidence needed can be documented and presented to the courts and to the American people. We also pray you protect, encourage, and infuse inner strength in President Trump and all those fighting on the front lines for the truth and for justice. We ask you to commission your warring angel armies to engage in this battle, to uphold and restore the integrity of our elections, and for America to remain one nation with liberty and justice for all. We pray this in the name above all names, the name of Jesus Christ.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
We will not be intimidated.
Tucker White 94, if God was on your side, why did he lose in the first place? Yeah, it's stupid.
American patriots are fed up with the corruption from the local level to the highest level of our government, and we are going to take this country back. We are not going to be intimidated. We are not.
She's like the final boss Karen, if there was like a Karen video game.
Not going to back down. We are going to clean this mess up now. President Trump won by a landslide. We are going to prove it, and we are going to reclaim the United States of America for the people who vote for freedom.
And by the way, One American News is the new Fox News. Parler is the new Twitter. Rumble is the new YouTube. Freedom Book is the new Facebook. And your local business is the new Amazon. And one more thing, we're gonna win. And
I didn't know Freedom Book was a thing. Whoever created Freedom Fries should sue them. I don't know. Okay, here's another One America News Network segment. Remember how I said One America News is like super duper propaganda?
There's nothing funny about the
Here's
tools
more of it.
capitalism.
Tucker White 94 with 20 bits. How is this rhetoric any different from the liberty or tyranny in 2016 or 2012 or 2008 or 2004 or 2000 or 1996, or you get the idea? It's not different. It's an imaginary straw man put forward by the right because they don't have any actual convincing ideas on how to govern effectively. So instead of, you know, being like, we want to take away your Social Security, they got to be like, we're fighting for liberty, even though they don't really mean anything by that. It's a platitude as far as they're using it. Cotton Candy 903 with 20 bits. No joke, I would pay for a game where we get to beat up Karens. Sounds cathartic.
Welcome back to Don't Be Fooled. The top of the list this week is yours truly. I make my own debut on this segment. Last week, I reported disappointment and betrayal of Bret Baier referring to Joe Biden as president-elect.
Oh no, accurately referring to Joe Biden as the president-elect is treasonous. Two man with 20 bits, this is the word. This is the world the right wants to live in, and then there's a link. Yeah. I'm aware of BioShock Infinite. Jingoistic right-wing bullshit.
All of that is true and accurate. However, I referred to Mr. Baier as a United States Marine. He did not serve in the Marine Corps, so for that, I make the list. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer held a press conference this week and used it as an opportunity to spin lies, create fear, and twist reality. It's accurate that we're in a huge national challenge, but it's not what he's talking about.
Now, we know this is a moment of great national challenge. COVID-19 is surging. People are dying. More people are getting sick than ever before. Families are struggling. Businesses are shuttering. People lose jobs. It's awful. Everywhere you go in this country.
COVID? He still wants us to believe COVID is our greatest risk?
Yes, because it is! Ah! Hold on. Boy, let's see. Oh, don't worry, guys. Only 257,000 people have died with only 12 million cases. Don't worry. If we extrapolate that out to the entire population... Hold on, let me see. What's the population of the U.S. is like 325 million? 328. Times 257. So let's see. That would be... Don't worry, guys. That's only like 6 million something dead people. We're good. That's fine. That's totally fine. Don't worry about that. Actually, is that like 60 million? No, that can't be 60. It's got to be 6 million something. You're nailing it, guys. I'm Yugi Muto. Thank you for following.
How about the obvious fact that our entire election system is corrupt, unreliable at best, and likely weaponized against us? America, our biggest threat we're facing right now is that radical socialists hijacked our election and
No, we didn't. If that were the case, Biden definitely wouldn't have won. I don't know if you know anything about anyone who self-describes as like a socialist or a democratic socialist or anything that would involve words that scare right-wing people. But no, Joe Biden, as it turns out, would not have been the person we would have rigged it for. Fun fact.
are trying to install their own government.
Oh no! Electing and giving power to the person who won the Electoral College and the popular vote? But I thought you had to lose the popular vote and win the Electoral College, since that's the only way Republicans have won. Unless 9/11 is helping. Then they're able to get the popular vote too.
Chuck Schumer wants you to believe his twisted version of reality. It's not real.
His twisted version of reality where we listen to doctors and the results of an election. The horror.
Joe Biden spoke this week from his homemade sign and podium of President-elect. It was a fake press conference designed to get the viewers to believe that Joe Biden actually is the president-elect.
No, he's the president-elect.
There's nothing
Again,
funny about the tools of capitalism.
we just read a thing. The Trump administration is officially or the whatever department deals with the transition of power today officially has started doing the transition to Biden. So, dudes spanking dudes with 20 bits, like how my mom gets mad about having to give me money that I worked for. She claims $20 a day to clean the whole house, including cleaning up dog's piece, and she refuses to potty train him as too much. You sure cleaning the dishes, cleaning the dog pee, mopping the floors, vacuuming, sweeping, folding, putting away clothes is not worth $20. She can just do everything again herself. I ain't cleaning anymore if she's gonna act like this. I'm sorry.
He's not. He claims
The
to
GSA.
have a plan to help America.
From autos to our stock.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's the article again. Thank you. Trump administration officially authorizes Biden transition.
Piles. We're going to buy American. No government contract will be given to companies that don't make their products here in America.
Yeah, that's great. Except Joe Biden has never supported American workers or our economy. He's enriched himself by selling our jobs to China. His plan to buy American...
You know that Trump's merchandise and everything and his companies also have used Chinese labor, right? The Make America Great Again hats. They're not made in America.
About the tools of capitalism.
Makra 3940, thank you for subscribing with Prime. Killjoy 102 with 100 bits. Do you think Biden inauguration day is going to be amazing? Not about him winning, but watching Trumples freak out? No, it's going to be bad. There's potential that someone's going to do some stupid terror attack or something. Right-wingers are going to lose their minds.
It sounds an awful lot like Donald Trump's plan. The difference is that Donald Trump actually does buy American.
Except he doesn't? Except he doesn't. No, he doesn't. What are you talking about?
Biden doesn't. Joe Biden has been lying to America for 47 years. He says what he thinks we want to hear. He realizes that Americans like what Donald Trump is saying, so he's just copying Trump. Elizabeth Warren spoke this week and tried to convince Americans that Joe Biden had a landslide victory.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
I disagree with calling it a landslide. It wasn't. It was a very close election, relatively speaking. It's funny to call it a landslide, specifically because in 2016, Trump called his win a landslide, even though he lost the popular vote by millions of votes. But he won by the exact same number of electoral votes that Joe Biden won this year. So it's kind of funny, ironically speaking, to call it a landslide, as long as you contextualize it and make it very clear you're joking.
That's right,
but no, it wasn't really a landslide.
Harris won by more
Kay
than
Thorns, thanks for
5
following.
million votes.
That is ridiculous and blatantly not true. Joe Biden lost by likely tens of millions of votes.
Listen to this. This is pretending to be news, and they're literally just saying lies. Joe Biden won the popular vote by like 6 million votes, and they're just looking at that fact and saying, no, in fact, Biden lost by not just millions, tens of millions of votes. Like, it's patently absurd that this is even allowed to happen. Like, this is a lie. How are you allowed to go on the air and pretend to be news and fucking lie? It's absolutely ridiculous.
Donald Trump won by such a large number of votes that he broke the Dominion algorithm, which is why they had to stop counting on the evening of November 3rd.
It's all conspiracy nonsense.
They needed to reset the machine, otherwise Trump would have continued his landslide win, despite the glitch in the software.
It was record turnout, and they won by running on the most progressive
DM Trey, thank you for subscribing.
It's shocking to me that she thinks Americans are stupid enough to believe what she's saying. She thinks all of America suddenly swung to the radical left and turned out in record numbers.
They didn't swing to the radical left. Joe Biden is a centrist. What are you talking about? They just can't. You know, One America News is not this stupid. This lady is not this stupid. She isn't. I don't think she is. They're being blatantly and intentionally dishonest. And they should all be, at minimum, fined. But honestly, they should probably also be charged for this shit. I'm all for the freedom of speech, but there are limitations on the freedom of speech. You can't slander people. You can't, you know, yell fire in a crowded theater. This should apply. Literally going on the air and pretending to be a news network and basically promoting sedition is so fucked.
To vote for the most progressive agenda? That's what she's selling. I don't think anyone's buying. Well, on a lighter note, Nancy Pelosi really hopes the country appreciates how united her caucus is.
I wish that you could have seen the nominations and the acceptance speeches.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
The common thread.
Poet Lover 072 with 100 bits. Hype train, people. Also, I love how she's putting out propaganda while accusing Democrats of propagandizing. Like, do you hear yourself, lady? They know what they're doing. They're doing it intentionally. I talked about this on the other stream the other day. If you're trying to brainwash someone, one of the first things you do is tell them, oh, everyone out there was brainwashing you, but we're going to tell you the truth. That's what you do. Is you frame everyone else as the real brainwashers, but really, we just want to tell you the truth. It's how you get people to let their guard down. Fox News has done similar things for years. They just weren't so blatant about it. Fox News, when they're going like, oh, the mainstream media is telling you this, and that, but we're fair and balanced. It's the same thing. They're just dog whistling it as opposed to One America News that just says what they're trying to indoctrinate people to believe. DM Trey with 20 bits. Hopefully they cause the Republicans party to split. I doubt it will. The Tea Party didn't do it. The Tea Party took control. Similar thing here. I'm guessing Trumpism is the new right wing in this country. It's pretty fucked up. Makra 3940, thank you for the 100 bits.
Of our caucus.
Give me a break. The only way they are united is against the American people and our constitutional rights.
Absolutely absurd. What American News is fucking disgusting. It's enough of One American News today. Okay, Tim Pool has a video from today, says constitutional crisis looms as key swing states may block Biden. Trump could win delegation vote. Cotton Candy 903 with 100 bits, thank you very much.
Right now,
There are two states on the verge of a constitutional crisis, Michigan and Pennsylvania, and these are key swing states that Donald Trump needs to win the Electoral College. Anybody telling you right now that Joe Biden has won is not being honest with you.
No. Tim Pool is the one not being honest with you, as it turns out. His entire grift has been simping for the right while pretending to be some sort of centrist or leftist for quite a while. I think he more along the lines... I think these days he more along the lines of says, like, yeah, I'm right-wing. But, like, this guy's entire grift is simping for the right. And he believes that if he goes along with this, like, Trump, oh my goodness, Trump is the election was stolen. Hip hip hooray, Donald Trump wins. We're gonna subvert democracy. Yay! I don't know. He thinks it benefits him in some way, which is weird. Tim Pool, I don't know why you're so on the page of like wanting to get Trump another 4 years. People like you do way better when you're the opposition party. That's what I don't get. Do you not remember Obama and like the fucking 8 years of idiots on the right screaming about Obama wearing tan suits and shit? Like, I'm sure Tim Pool's probably gonna be fine the next 4 years. That's what I'm saying. It's kind of a dumb thing to even like try and promote, but do you, Tim?
He hasn't. Preliminary projections show that Joe Biden will win the Electoral College so long as everything just moves along without challenge. But Donald Trump is challenging this. Many Republicans are challenging this.
Poet Lover 072 with 100 bits. Ah, yes, Tim, Trump is going to have a 49-state landslide pool. Can't believe this guy. He's dumb beyond belief. You know.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Tucker White, 94, 20 bits. You missed bits. Okay. If we need a cleanser, here's Donald Trump cameo in Ghosts Can't Do It, the same film for which he won a Razzie. Donald Trump won a Razzie.
Did I win? I did, didn't I?
You were good.
I read your book. And I won. I did. I beat you.
You were very good. You played the situation perfectly.
So I beat the situation, but not you.
That's what you did.
I think you like to make mischief.
You noticed that too. It's up to you now. Up to you, not up to me.
Well, gentlemen, I hope I was clear and not too vacant-headed, because from the look of this room, it isn't woman's work we're doing here.
In many different states, and in Michigan, as of the recording of this video right now, there is a hearing from the Michigan State Canvass Board to determine whether or not they will certify this election.
They did. Literally during our stream, they did so.
It sounds like...
Right at the beginning, so probably right after he posted this.
Like they are going to. And then from there, it goes, I believe, to the governor, and we'll see how things play out. Maybe, it's entirely possible, that we see a 2-2 split again at this state canvass, at this canvass.
We did not. They certified.
Canvassing level, just like we saw at the county level, where 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats disagree. Although from sitting there listening to the hearing, it sounds like at least one Republican is going to side with the Democrats. But in Pennsylvania, there was a new lawsuit arguing that Act 77, which created this expanded mail-in voting system, is unconstitutional and may actually result in a constitutional crisis with no legitimate remedy other than to say this election was unconstitutional. So what do they do then? Honestly, I don't know. I would be surprised if the courts in PA said, you know what, we're going to throw out every vote. This vote is done. But we're heading in that direction.
Tim Pool is unironically advocating that the courts should unilaterally undo the votes of millions of people in Pennsylvania because Republicans don't like the result of the vote. Think about this. I know, and we've been so inundated with absolute bullshit for the last 4 years. But think back think back 5, 6, 7 years ago and imagine you get a headline from today, from the future, and it says, oh, hey, the Republicans are trying to overturn the results of a Democratic election because they lost. It's a fucking nightmare. You're very cold.
I'm very cold.
Ah! My lower back is cold now because of your hand. Stephen J. Neptune Man with 20 bits. Trump. I'm beginning the transition process, but also I will continue fighting, but also I will prepare to leave. Killjoy 102. I miss neocons. At least they weren't openly fascist.
Hello, everyone. I'm literally
There's nothing funny
shivering.
about the
I
tools
can
of
see
capitalism.
that. Devious Chillster 20 bets. Even if they threw out those votes, Biden still wins. What's the point? This changes nothing, Tim. Nothing. You lose. Good day, sir. Tim's just desperate. He's very, very desperate.
Entirely possible. Based on the lawsuit the Trump campaign brought and lost, it sounds like the
MMO addicted to 20 bits. Hannah screams, waking me up. Bad touch, bad touch.
courts aren't going to agree to throw out or essentially block this vote or have a revote because of this unconstitutional provision. But then, constitutional crisis. What do we do? It's a serious challenge. The left and the media are saying Joe Biden won.
It's not a serious challenge. Rudy Giuliani is spearheading it.
They're acting as though Trump isn't happening, and in fact, Joe Biden says best just to ignore this man. Yeah, that's not a good idea. Because let me show you the real stats, and then we'll read about the pending constitutional crisis that may come out of Michigan. Which states have certified president vote totals? Yeah. Here's the actual vote count as it stands so far.
No, it's not. Tim.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Joe Biden won the election because he received more votes in the states that get him electors. You're literally trying to subvert the results of the election because you don't like the results. And as it turns out, if you hate democracy every time you lose and want to overthrow that system of government every time you lose, then you don't care about democracy, nor do you care about the Constitution. You care about power and seizing it by any means necessary, which is what I like to call evil.
Funny about the tools of capitalism.
You can't just be like, well, we want recounts. Oh, the recounts show the same thing. Well, we want audits. Oh, the audits show there's no fraud. Oh, we're gonna do lawsuits. Oh, all the lawsuits are getting thrown out. Oh, well, now we're gonna try and get faithless electors. If every time it's shown that you cannot win via underhanded methods, first of all, you lost the election, right? You lost it. That's the fair and square way to win or lose. You lost. And then you're like, no, we're not gonna lose. We're gonna fucking lawyers. We're gonna get some lawyers and we're gonna... Stop. It's fucking embarrassing. Tucker White 94, I missed when George W. Bush was the bottom of the barrel. I don't. Don't rehabilitate George W. Bush by comparing him to Trump and saying he's better. Devious Chillster with 80 bits. Snoip asks Compio 20 bits. Lesbian relationship goals. Stephen J. Neptune Man. I missed when Sarah Palin was the bottom of the barrel. And then Tucker White 94. I am now the bits leader. All will bow to me.
And this isn't even the end, because then we have the December 8th safe harbor provision where...
And then there was another one, sorry I missed. Poet Lover says, Timmy boy, the facts. The facts want you to acknowledge them. He can't. He literally can't. The other day he did post something that was like vaguely like, hey, Biden looks like he might, and they turned on him immediately. I think he knows at this point, if he even suggests that Joe Biden is the winner, which of course he is, that his audience is going to eat him alive. Look what happened to Tucker Carlson the other day when he didn't have Crazy Lady on because she wouldn't provide evidence of her claims.
These states have to have this total in, these certification totals, by December 8th. So the Electoral College can meet and cast their votes. And then on January 6th, a joint session of Congress will count those votes and determine who the next president will be. And they will then be inaugurated on January 20th. But this battle is far from over. And I'm telling you, things are going to start getting spicy.
Tim has been saying things are going to start getting spicy. And so is like Styx and all those people, by the way, for weeks. It hasn't gotten spicy. It's gotten annoying. And honestly, gotten some good laughs out of it with Giuliani and the thing. And him wiping boogers all over his face. But like, it's not getting spicy. Trump has not gotten any closer to winning the election he lost. He's just making a jackass out of himself and his lawyers. Tucker White 94 with 20 bits. Oh, I'm not trying to rehabilitate Bush. I just hate his idiocy. Is no longer as bad as it gets. Sure.
I'm not entirely convinced that Trump will win this. I'm not saying his chances of winning it are strong, but this is the number you need to actually pay attention to. From the New York Times, which states have certified presidential vote totals? And you'll see as of right now, Joe Biden has 35 certified votes to Trump's 74. Projections based on certification deadlines show that Joe Biden will eventually hit 306. Unless, of course, they're showing us this chart and then Joe Biden never gets it because Michigan and Pennsylvania and maybe Arizona never certified.
Michigan is certified at this point. Someone sent me a link to this chart already. Hold on. New York Times. Which states have certified? Piratawa, thank you for subscribing. Let's see. So Michigan certified, bringing the total up to 55 for Biden and 80 for Trump. I don't know when these other states are going to start to certify, but they're going to in the next week or so. And Biden will win because he won the election. Guys, how many times can I say Biden won the election? Biden won the election.
Arizona's governor said that he will not accept the results if there is pending litigation. And Trump said he will bring some. So we will see how this plays out. I was listening to a bit of the arguments in Michigan, and we'll talk about this, about why they should or shouldn't certify. By the time you're watching this video, those results may already be out. So I'll definitely have an update on this.
Toeing24, what's with these trash goobers using spicy? They think mayo's too much for their I think it started partially because if you use like a term like sexy on YouTube, you can get demonetized more easily because it detects, all the words that are being said in a video. They use that for the automatic transcription, too. If you've ever seen closed captions on a YouTube video that are automatically generated, that same auto-generation, the transcript that's through that, YouTube checks the video for, like, words that are being said in the video. So if you use too many swear words or, like, other words that are too provocative in some way. So, like, it started with people like Jeremy using spicy instead of, other more salacious words or whatever. And then I think it just became a meme. So now people just say spicy. And it is a little funny, but... Tucker White 94, 20 bits. I don't even think Stretch Armstrong can stretch as much as Tim Pool right now. I don't know. Stretch Armstrong can stretch pretty far.
Other channels, but I pushed it as hard as I could, waiting for them like, are you gonna certify? And then I had to record the segment. So let's talk about the pending constitutional crisis and the current arguments in Michigan, and then I'll show you what's going on in Pennsylvania that may result in... There is a slim possibility here that Donald Trump pulls off this constitutional trick shot, as some have called it. Jonathan...
That's a nice way to say a coup. A constitutional trick shot, or as I like to say, ending democracy in the United States. Swish! What a friendly, nice way to describe subverting a democratic election.
Jonathan Turley has said this is the Death Star strategy, and it could work out in Trump's favor, but could is not will. It could doesn't mean it's probable. Let's read.
Lila Duder with 20 bits. Parents are breaking down because Trump lost, and I sort of feel bad for them. They genuinely believe that the nation is out to get them in Trump.
Read the story.
I wish I could give you advice on how to de-radicalize them. I really don't know.
Republicans are coming out saying we may have a crisis on our hands. But before we do, head over to timcast.com/donate. If you would like to support my work, there are many ways you can give. I got a P.O. box if you want to send me some stuff. But the best thing you can do is share this video. Mainstream media is going to tell you outright Joe Biden won. Even though...
Hold on, let me check.
What are you checking?
Can I get a second opinion on this? Which of these bars is bigger?
I'd have to get like a ruler and check, but it certainly looks like the blue bar is bigger.
Okay, it does appear Joe Biden has won the election. Interesting. We should send this information to Tim immediately.
Oh, this is funny. The New York Times is still showing us the certification totals because they haven't stopped tracking what's really going on with this.
Tim, the certification is like... How do I put this? What's the word I'm thinking of? It's procedural. It's not at this point that, like, decisions are actually being made about who wins. That decision is, like, on election day when people actually decide who they vote for. Certifying the results of that election are procedural in nature.
It's like bureaucratic.
Yeah. It's not them deciding, should we overturn democracy? I know you want that to be the case, but it's not. At least it's not supposed to be.
This election. It's entirely possible that Joe Biden does not get certified, does not get inaugurated. None of that happens. So I'm going to do my best to actually tell you what's going on. If you think I'm doing a good job and people need to hear this stuff, because maybe you got a friend who's like, nope, Joe Biden won. I don't want to hear it. Okay, well, I just showed the New York Times. No. We're not there yet. It's very likely, nay, extremely probable Joe Biden will win, but Trump is not giving up. So if you think I'm doing a good job, please share this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Here's the story from Click on Detroit. Michigan Republican warns of constitutional crisis ahead of meeting to certify election results. Michigan Board of State Canvassers asked to delay certification of election results. They say, in an interview with Fox News Sunday morning, Republican and Michigan House Speaker Lee Chatfield talked about the possibility of a constitutional crisis ahead of the Michigan Board of State Canvassers' scheduled meeting to certify election results. Quote, if there were to be a 2-2 split on the State Board of Canvassers, it would then go to the Michigan Supreme Court to determine what their response would be, what their order would be, said Chatfield on Fox News. If they didn't have an order that it to be certified, well, now we have a constitutional crisis in the state of Michigan. It's never occurred before.
Still hasn't occurred. They certified.
And I'll tell you this. In the event we actually get a 2-2, and like I said, they're doing the hearing right now. I don't know when they're going to end. It might not be till later. The Supreme Court of Michigan's probably just going to say, we certify the results, or order them to certify the results. The arguments right now, and it is mind-numbing and annoying, it's that these canvassers who are in these positions are only in a ministerial position, effectively a living rubber stamp.
Yes, that's literally what they are. They're there to make sure all the paperwork is filled out. Their job is not to investigate fraud. There are other people's whose job it would be if there were credible allegations of fraud brought forward with evidence, but there haven't been. So the people whose job it would actually be to investigate fraud have no reason to do so. The people who, like, certify the election, it's not their job to be like, haha, I smell something fishy afoot. For the same reason, like, a juror can't go out and, like, investigate a crime, right? That's not how it works. You as a juror don't get to go do your own investigation and collect evidence on some crime you think may or may not have happened. It's your job to make a determination based upon what has been presented to you. And not even that. I'm giving them too much agency in this because even jurors can decide guilty or not guilty. But basically when you're in the position of being on this board of canvassers, it's your job to be like, oh, here are all the results from all the districts they have certified. Okay, these are the numbers they have. Check, 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 check. Done. Bureaucracy is boring. I understand that. But, like, it exists. It exists, Tim. Not every bureaucratic position has to be this exciting thing where your decision is going to change the course of history. That's not their purpose.
To question anything, but just to say, I've seen it, it's good. Not a tribunal position where they can actually say, I call for an audit or something like that. One of the Republicans seems very adamant on, I don't have the power to delay, so therefore I must certify. And in one of the arguments, The lawyer for John James, the Republican running for the Senate, said, you do have the right to adjourn for necessary purposes, and you are obligated to ascertain the results of this, to certify.
That guy lost, and he's super butthurt about it.
This election, ascertain the results and certify. And he defines...
I am done. Guys, the days of me finding this fun are so fucking over. These guys are... It's so frustrating. I cannot explain to you how over I am these guys not admitting reality. It's funny for a little bit, and then it's just like... I don't even know what a good example of a parallel, because I don't think I've seen another group of people so adamantly deny reality in this way for so long. And someone's going to make an edgy, like, oh, but what about religious people joke. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, like, the sky is blue level falsifiable claim, or the sky is, like, not blue falsifiable claim, you know? Like, they're outright just claiming stuff that is demonstrably untrue, and they're sticking to it in, like, the Goebbels a lie told enough will become the truth sort of way. It is so frustrating and exhausting, as it is supposed to be. That's the entire point of this kind of tactic, is to just lie and lie and lie and lie and lie and lie and lie the same exact way until people get exhausted at debunking your lie so it just stands and no one's there to question it. That's the entire purpose. But here we are. Nope. Still gotta be like, no. All these things that they're saying, they're bullshit. They're bullshit. Until such a time as they come forward with actual evidence, which they haven't done.
Certify as determined to be true and correct. This Republican started arguing that, well, the law says I can only use the things available to me, so I don't have the power. Man, was this Republican trying really hard to say, I have no choice but to certify these results, and it's crazy.
It's crazy that that person wanted to do their job without trying to find loopholes to undo democracy.
I tell you this, they're actually arguing, there's an article, that if they don't certify, they're saying it's a felony. I kid you not. Let me see. I think I have it right here. Refusing to certify legitimate votes is a felony. Boy, are they trying to force these people.
How dare they force these people to do their jobs? The horror.
To just rubber stamp this.
Democrats wanting a functional government strikes again.
About 70% of Wayne County's vote books, or whatever they're called, are out of balance. So my understanding is that people go in to sign so that they're, I'm here, I'm signing, I'm here. Then they go in and vote. And there's like, in 70%, the numbers don't match up. Apparently, there's a bipartisan complaint about this in Michigan.
There were more irregularities in Wayne County's vote stuff in 2016 when Trump won than there are today. This was brought up during the public commentary thing for the Michigan people. This is brought up. It's entirely partisan. It's not about irregularities. It's about the fact that Trump lost this time.
Also, there were more irregularities in Livonia, which is right next to Detroit, and they were fine with certifying Livonia.
That sounds about white.
Yep.
Michigan, previously in August during the primary, and they wanted a full investigation. Apparently never happened. Just kicked the can down the road, and now we end up saying, what do we do now that we have the same problem? And it's way worse than it was in 2016. In 2016, apparently they had similar problems. Never fixed them. I'm impressed.
The Republicans in Congress threw out multiple security election bills. Donald Trump also formed in 2016, or a little bit after, a voter fraud commission, but had to disband it after a year or two because they found no evidence of voter fraud. How much more do we have to go over this, guys?
So these are the two Republicans. We have Norman Schinkel and Aaron Van Langeveld. It's Aaron, I believe his name is pronounced Langeveld, probably can't pronounce it properly, who was arguing he has no authority whatsoever to delay certification. when he literally does. It was the weirdest mental gymnastics. The law literally states he can adjourn for necessary purposes. That's it. It doesn't say what those necessary purposes are. It's actually an extremely broad provision. He could literally just go, I got to go to the bathroom. Adjourned. He could absolutely say it is necessary in order for us to...
Is Tim completely unable to recognize moral reasons why a person would not rat fuck an election if they had the opportunity to do so? Is Tim really this morally bankrupt that he doesn't understand that someone with an opportunity to help someone like subvert democracy, they have the opportunity to do it, but they realize that that's a morally disgusting thing to do, so they choose not to? And Tim's like, why? They can. Okay, but Tim, that's fucking evil. You're the bad guys. You're the bad guys. So maybe consider that before you start asking, why won't this person do this evil thing like I would? Because you're evil, and most other people are not. That would be why, Tim. Killjoy102 with 100 bits. Can you watch a video of someone dumber, more unhinged, and higher BMI? Those guys are more fun to watch. Get mad.
To ascertain the certification of these ballots, that we have these unbalanced sheets be explained. How can you determine if something is true if you can't explain major discrepancies that the Democrats have said affected every single jurisdiction? I think they gave the Republicans a blank check to just say, okay, well, we can't certify then. Those are your words, not ours. It seems like this guy really, really wants to certify, anyway. So, again,
because it's his job, Tim. Okay, I'm done with Tim. I can't deal with more fucking Tim today. Ugh.
Dear Americans, as you know, everyone in Britain knows the Queen, and she's asked me to have a quick word with you on her behalf about her English. Don't worry, this isn't the standard tedious British sneering about lieutenants and aluminum. Essentially, her message is...
Tucker White, is it just me or is this Tim Pool a poor man's Ben Shapiro? Basically.
Use it how you like. She doesn't mind. She doesn't mind about the sensible ones, like spelling plough the way it quite obviously should be spelled. But nor does she mind about the silly ones, like saying tidbit, because you think the syllable tit is intrinsically rude.
Towing24 with 20 bits. Do you want to yeet out of Chud and watch do some Sovereign Citizens? No.
By all means,
I'm probably almost done. We've been going for 3 hours and I want to spend time with Baja.
Leave the U out of colour if it bothers you. I can quite see that the bit of a car you put stuff in looks more like a trunk than a boot, and that sidewalks are the bit at the side that you walk on. Fine, says the Queen. Help yourself. She couldn't care less. She couldn't care less, though. Not she could care less. That's the one thing she'd really like you to stop saying, because that, as an expression for not or hardly caring, just makes no sense. If you could care less about something, then all you're telling us is that you do care at least a little bit, because you could care less. But if you couldn't care less... Look, observe this graph. Here's me on the scale of caring. I'm at 0. Therefore, since negative caring is impossible, or rather is simply caring of another sort, love and hate being different sides of the same coin, etc., I couldn't care less. I could care more, but I couldn't care less. If I could care less, I would have to care at least the smallest possible unit of caring in order to give myself room to care less. I can't care nothing if I could care less. But I might care much more than nothing. I could care anything from here to here. And I could still truthfully claim to be able to care less. I could care less is absolutely useless as an indicator of how much you care, because the only thing it rules out is that you don't care at all, which is exactly what you're trying to convey. So that's the one thing the Queen really wants you to stop saying. Although while I've got you, the expression is, can you hold the fort? not hold down the fort. If I ask you to hold the fort, the metaphor I'm employing is perfectly clear. You and I are in the fort together, holding out against the enemies of the fort who are besieging the fort. I now have to pop out of the fort for a bit to get some printer toner or take the cat to the vet. While I do this, don't worry about how I'll get past the besieging enemy. I have a secret tunnel and a false beard. While I do this, I want you to hold the fort so that when I come back, we'll both still have the fort. A perfectly reasonable metaphor embodying a sound military strategy. If I ask you to hold down the fort, what the hell am I talking about? Hold down the fort while I go out? Because, as you know, it's an inflatable hover fort, and once relieved of my weight, it might float off into the sky. Hold down the fort, and when I get back, the two of us can tickle the fort. No, meaningless. Stop it. But those are the only two things. Stop doing those, and you can say research and Bernard to your heart's content. Although, herbs... Really? You're French now, are you? With your herbal tea and your herbal remedies? Well, fine. Whatever makes you happy. I could care less.
Okay.
I'm going to show you how to make what I call millennial angst slime. I figured I'd make it with you guys since I'm not going to be able to afford to have kids to make the slime with till I'm fucking 50. Alright, first you've got to start out with 2 bottles of skyrocketing cost of living and 1 tablespoon of stagnant real wages. Make sure to account for inflation if you want a fluffier slime, otherwise it'll be as thin as my investment portfolio. Next, you're going to want to factor in the staggering student debt you've accrued to purchase an utterly worthless liberal arts degree from fucking Mick University Incorporated, who built a business model on the rampant lie that a degree equaled a career. Which of course your father still believes, and he makes that frequently known in his smug cunt Facebook posts. Oh, I don't understand kids these days. By the time I was 30, I was working 40 hours a week, paying a mortgage, making car payments, raising 2 kids. They're just lazy and entitled avocado-sucking brats. Okay, jerk-off. I'd love to see him try that today, where there's thousands of applicants for the same job, who as a result of which are all disposable and replaceable. Alright, I've seen loyal, hardworking people get fired for asking for a raise, because they'd rather replace an employee than have to tell some fucking used condom masquerading as a human being in a boardroom somewhere that their yearly bonus isn't going to be as grotesquely obese as they expected. Okay? I want to see him try it when his fucking boss texts him on his cell phone after work and on his days off and breaks his balls for shit, because 70 hours a week spent bartering his youth away for barely more than minimum wage isn't enough. But it's really not, because he needs the overtime if he wants to actually put anything away for his future, which he absolutely has to do because his fucking father ruined Social Security! Okay, next up is what may at first glance appear to be a nugget of dog shit, but it's actually Mike Rowe's opinion. Gonna want to work that in there nice and deep. He's telling us to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps while we're all standing here barefoot. And Google just bought Timberland and fired half the company before outsourcing the entire fucking operation. You'd think being made in a sweatshop would make the boots cheaper, but they're more expensive than ever. And if you want fucking straps for your boots, that's gonna cost extra. Meanwhile, the bank's not giving business loans unless you're already a fucking millionaire, and I'm paying $2,000 a month for a 1-bedroom apartment on top of the student loans, and this cockhead wants me to take another unpaid internship and be grateful for the opportunity. Hey, Mike, I got a dirty job for you. Suck my asshole! Now, this is optional, but you can add in those articles that keep blaming shit on us. Yeah, you know what? I killed casual dining, and I'd do it again. I'm proud to have been part of the generation that put a stake through the heart of the fucking flare Nazi motherfucking manufactured kitschy bullshit soul-sucking corporate cookie-cutter cocksucker slaughterhouse of dreams serving up deep-fried fucking garbage at happy hour. What's more depressing than happy hour at a fucking Applebee's? Pounding away $9 half pints while I look at a fake page from my high school yearbook hanging on a fucking wall. Okay. What the fuck are you doing with a hockey stick on the wall? What does that have to do with anything? Get the fucking hockey stick off the wall! You want to know why our sense of humor is random? Because when nothing around you makes sense in the way you were told it would, you have to start laughing at things that don't make sense as a fucking mental health defense mechanism. Okay, so I fucked up the slime. I don't know. I guess I was too distracted by all the other bullshit. Maybe there's a meta commentary in here somewhere or something. I don't fucking know. Whatever you want. I don't give a shit. Okay. I'm going to play video games.
Okay, I'm gonna raid someone. This stream's a little... I mean, we went 3 hours. Sorry, guys. I did 2 videos with Jake today, and then I was doing this, and I'm just very tired.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Daddy Sume, you returned just for the end, yeah. Dudes Bacon Dudes Raid Jabroni Mike, who made that vid.
We are taking a look.
Are they live?
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Unfortunately, but we're learning about the secret origins of the world.
Let me see what they're doing.
I did not know.
The word refurbished is scary for
about it. In fact, as a matter of fucking fact, yes.
I don't remember that at all.
You ruined my innocence here.
I ruined your innocence.
Yeah, with this. Yeah.
Okay. In this specific case.
Oh, dude, I got mangoes.
Mangoes are good.
All right, sure.
Mango,
okay.
Fuck yourself. I think.
So thanks everyone for coming to the stream. It was fun. Sorry, I'm kind of tired today. Tomorrow I'll be back for Tinfoil Tuesday. I'll have more energy. We'll look at some fun conspiracy theories. Okay, it'll be a good time. So yeah. That's it. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for coming to Chud Watch. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back later in the week for Chud Watch again, but probably with more energy. Night, everyone. Chat's valid. Stuff. Bye.